550 on the 5 sticky, come get high with me, that's a deal, right? Ride with me if you ride with me, you can slide with me if you feel like 550 on the 5 sticky, come get high with me, that's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? That's a bet, right? That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? Ayy, coming down like precipitation. I ain't never met a limitation. Hate a plot in my elimination. Gotta go to Google for the information. I'm a superstar, so I gotta shine. Top dollar be the bottom line. Bottom feeding niggas out of line. Turn your heart rate to a dotted line. Yeah, my zodiac probably dollar sign. Got the energy to win it, my nigga, I'm feeling great. Got a date with destiny, focusing on my fate. I don't give a fuck what you rapping, you been a fake. I'm everything that they ain't, it can't be, it won't be. Wanna see me fall, I can't go, I won't leave. Coming from the block with plain clothes and police. Straight up to the top with bankrolls and rollies. Ride with me if you ride with me, you can slide with me if you feel like 550 on the 5 sticky, come get high with me, that's a deal, right? Ride with me if you ride with me, you can slide with me if you feel like 550 on the 5 sticky, come get high with me, that's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? That's a bet, right? That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? Ayy, 12 can't really stop shit, so I'm still pushing like a mosh pit. Ice dripping, think I'm hot shit. In the yellow bucket with the mop stick. I've been jugging jams like wholesale. Everything must go sell. Hitting bitches with the oh well. Need 100 million on the low scale. On my worst night, I'm the best nigga. Wouldn't mess with you, couldn't cap to him. Homie spotted me like 700, brought 1100 right back to him. If I can't do it, then it ain't real. I just make dollars, I don't make deals. I've been going hard in the paint, still blowing kush clouds till I can't feel like. Ride with me if you ride with me, you can slide with me if you feel like 550 on the 5 sticky, come get high with me, that's a deal, right? Ride with me if you ride with me, you can slide with me if you feel like 550 on the 5 sticky, come get high with me, that's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? That's a bet, right? That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right?
Welcome one and all back to Conqueror for our semi-finals here today. SRC versus DOG, and I kind of choked on my words a little bit saying DOG because we have some beef with those, just me, myself, and I. But it is, of course, Sater, the DOG hater, and Freedom Potatoes, who actually kind of likes these guys a little bit more, right?
A little bit more. I've gotten to play against them in Titan. Not these specific guys, but some of the other teams, and yeah, I mean it's going to be an exciting matchup today. These teams have played each other before, I think a while back in the season, and that time Syndicate Reboot card won the series 2-1. Rosters have changed up a little bit since then, so we might be seeing a different story this time around, though.
Yeah, things have changed. Obviously, Dorado, one of the teams that have constantly kind of changed up their rosters as they go through every single year. They're not afraid to drop a player here or there. So every single time I do see them, there's something new coming out from them. While SRC, just alone off the fact they have a Spada in the top lane, just fills me with hope because it reminds me of Bleach. So I'm firmly in the SRC kind of carry portion here. I think they have a better chance just off of names. Like Mist just sounds like a great name to have as a jungler. Like, is that just like some sort of weird sneaky mist that flies in and just takes over games? It's just wonderful, wonderful stuff. But as we do go into our first draft here for game one, before we start to get into the nitty gritty, that is Fearless. Is there anything you're expecting to see out of either of these squads, or something banned away?
So last time these teams played, Espada was super dominant on Cho'Gath. I think had like a 10-0 performance on that. So I mean, maybe Dorado's prepared an answer, but if not, I'd expect to see that banned away. It's been a pretty meta pick for weeks, if not months at this point now. And Espada, I think, has been a huge carry for Syndicate Reboot card.
Yeah, it's been a very, very big one, and I do like seeing the Cho'Gath into games because it is fun when you're like watching a team fight and then a Cho'Gath just flashes the wall, sprints at someone, eats it, and you're like, oh, they died. Okay, that completely changes everything. I do love that one-click punch kind of style, but for the moment, it is surviving the draft. Doge with the last one. We'll take out the Lilia, which I did do in my weather report. If you watch the After Dark, very, very important to watch those because I do give up all of the information you need to see about junglers. So Lilia, one of the ones I wanted to point out because Nafiri still banned away, but Jinx, my favorite ADC in the world, first pick B1.
Jinx is a lot of fun to watch. Those resets always exciting when they get going, but does need a lot of protection. Can be a challenge to pilot in those team fights. We're seeing the answer with the Victor. I'm kind of surprised to see Victor picked up so early. I think if that is going mid, there's plenty of options to counter pick it. Now, there's a chance they're doing some weird Victor bot lane thing, but no, it's Jhin going to be paired with it as well. So both of those main carries showing early in the draft for Dorado.
Yeah, I do like the idea of taking the Victor and the Jhin early. I would have preferred a little bit more of the play around with it style, but they're going to go for that control and range style straight away. Very, very nice. Jarvan coming through on the other side, which I'm going to guess is either Lulu or Milio, should be coming out here for that Jinx pairing. But no, it's going to jump straight into an Orianna, which means supports will be left. Orianna's a strange one. Jarvan is a decent ball delivery system, but it's a very telegraphed ball delivery system. You know when Jarvan's going to hit you. There's range indicators that you kind of learn as you go, and the Amumu coming through as well. So it's something I said a lot on last night's broadcast, if anyone caught Gladiator. There's a lot of circles in this game.
A lot of AoE, a lot of zone control that's going to be kind of played around for both these teams. Orianna, trying to play around the ball, and Victor, Jhin laying down those traps, that gravity field, kind of slowing the enemy approach, and then both teams kind of trying to set up for these big AoE ultimate combos.
Yeah, and the Lulu being taken away, and the Braum, which would have been my tank choice after seeing the Orianna and seeing that they need a little bit of full-on protection for this Jinx, but Milio still being available is still my favorite to come through from this one. I'm starting to wonder what we're going to see in the top side now, because Jax has been banned away. There's not really that other top laners have been taken, so Ornn is available, Cassante is available, and Bessa is available. Renata for the Jhin combo, which I'll like to get your idea on that in a second, but we're going to sprint through the rest of this draft, I have a feeling. So we'll jump back to that bot side in the pregame. But I want to see, okay, so an Ornn is going to come through, which it's a good pick, but where's the Milio? Just take the Milio. We know what's coming.
I think Milio would be a really good pick here. Espada's very practiced on the Auron, has shown a lot of proficiency on it before, and there's the Milio, just like you predicted. Perfect pairing with that Jinx. You know, if piloted correctly, going to be very effective into those AoE ultimates from the Amumu or the Renata. So I think Syndicate Reboot card's got a very easy to execute draft here, but it's going to be the Gnar rounding things out for Dorado.
Yeah, I'm interested to see that one because Jarvan and Gnar have that weird kind of you're trapped in here, I'm trapped with you, blah 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 blah. Like both of those champions love being in the Cataclysm, so I'm really excited to see who's going to win the Cataclysm battle when it comes to those two if they ever do end up in it. But this bot lane, it's something I wanted to kind of scratch your brain on a little bit here. So the Jinx Milio versus Jhin Renata, it's a very like we want to farm lane, but with Renata's ult, it's very easy to dive down there, right?
Renata definitely opens up the dives, you know, if you can land that ult and if you can use the bailout to help your teammate survive on the dive, adds a lot of power there. But I feel like Renata, I usually see paired more with those kind of like attack speed, hyper carries, like a Jinx or a Felios. Not as often with the Jhin, but they do have a lot of roots, kind of a lot of synergy if Renata is able to land the handshake.
Is my mustache better than that?
It's hard to beat.
No,
I mean, he's got some very fine control over those mustache muscles.
You know what? I'm going to have to put some work in here. I'm going to have to put some work in. That's what I'm going to look like at the start of the next split. Keep an eye on me, everyone in the chat. Next split, that's my mustache. But look, it's going to be a nice and easy 5-point start. Going to see nothing special as we do see the lovely photo of Chris. I've no idea what the context of his photo is. I still have no idea. As Julian looking great on the other side, but Chris, what are you doing? What is going on? But we do have a little bit of action here as it will be Rehart walking straight into the Ornn. There's the flag, extra attack speed, but the damage is not there yet as Spada will need to flash this one. You cannot stay for this, and that is a summoner burn, and this is one of those things that a lot of the analysts are starting to talk about. How much information can you get at the start of the game and what can you trade for it? That is a 1-0 start in terms of summoners, and they know exactly where Mist will be starting, so that gives all the advantage over to the Amumu, who wants to full clear anyway.
Yeah, it feels a little bit sloppy maybe from Syndicate there, taking the fight with, 2v2, but not knowing who had the first move, and then it turns into a 2v3, and yeah, Spada now down the flash up in that top side, and in a matchup that can be pretty abusive if the Gnar is able to, keep harassing in the early game. And Spada's also got to walk up to that lane pretty late now, might have missed some XP from those minions, which is just going to make that even tougher.
Yeah, it could be very tough for them here as we are seeing the bot and mid here on the side-by-sides, and it is going to be just Jinx getting the waves as they come in. Jhin and Renata have that early push in the early levels until those rockets start flying immeasurably. Then we'll start to see something change with some good trading coming in from Kehel already onto Jacob as well. So Victor comfortable in the lane, but Orianna already ticking away on those pots.
Victor can be such an early lane bully in these matchups. He's got, I think, the shield bash and the bone plating, which is just amplifies the damage from that Q poke and makes it much harder for your opponent to trade back onto you as well. So yeah, getting good value out of those rune choices in these first two levels here.
Yeah, and that's what it is all about. There's always argument of play for lane, play for game. It's like you build for your lane and then you build the rest for your game. Your first item is for laning phase, and those runes are technically nearly just an item because you get to select them. So please select the correct ones. But Mist is deciding he is going to select mid lane for his first gank of the game, and Gel will have to walk away from this one. And yeah, no flashes, no over egregious plays, nice and calm.
So both junglers are now going to be looking towards the bottom side, it looks like. Mumu over on that Gromp and Jarvan going down to this red buff. But as soon as Jarvan leaves that lane, Kehel is right back to trading aggressively.
Yeah, this is the arcane fight we should have seen. Why didn't Orianna make a full appearance and not a teased appearance? But Kehel winning as the arcane herald and putting down that pressure. And there is only one person that can stop him in this game. It is the Jinx, and that is lore friendly.
That is lore accurate, and yeah, I mean, I really like seeing a Victor apply pressure early like this. I think I'm a mid lane player myself, and it just feels so good to like run aggressively at people with that Q and E and chunk them out in the early levels. I don't know, something about it just feels right. But the mana pool is dwindling, so Kehel will probably have to take it back soon. But Orianna's already used that TP, so that's another little summoner spell advantage for the side of Dorado here.
Yeah, one of the big things that has changed in the recent kind of times is those the Rod of Ages changes have come in, and I believe we are on 0.2.4 as well, which is 25.07. I think they keep changing how patch notes are written down. It's getting really, really irritating at this stage. But Rod of Ages has been changed, and it is probably the biggest change to come true so far, as it is going to greatly help some of those mid laners that have now. I say some of them, nearly all of them have started building the Roa change, as it is just very, very good for your laning and late game, and especially for anyone that needs all of that extra little bit of money and experience, and it's just really, really good. So I'm kind of happy to see how the Rod of Ages is going to shape up in this one. I don't expect to see it that early, but there is some changes coming to that one, and I was kind of hoping to see Orianna go for it. Oh, that's not meant to happen.
Well, the interesting thing I'm noticing now is that Espada's got the Airy on this Ornn, which makes a lot of sense in kind of the melee versus range matchup. You can use that Q to get a lot more poke down than you normally would be able to, and now is actually, I think, winning, I would say, this counter matchup. I mean, down a little bit of CS, but considering how he had to blow that flash at level 1, I mean, this is a nice start, and that flash is about to come back up too without any capitalization from the side of Dorado.
Yeah, it's that assassin, mage, tank, bruiser, ADC support top lane Ornn that just fills everything you've ever needed as a top laner, as it does so much in that lane. And yeah, even that volcanic rupture will continue to proc that. Airy will buy a lot of time for Ornn as well in a lane where Nar should be able to set up nicely most of the time in that matchup. As you get that extra healing, you have to jump in, do all your damage, and then walk out all safe. But for the moment, Chili Crab is feeling it. There's a lot of hurt going on in that top side, but that first Drake is going to be contested, as that is going to be a lovely sombrero coming straight through from Jacob. They will set up a lovely shot, as it will tick away. First blood does go to retail row on that Milio. Probably not the target you wanted it, but Drake looks like it is being secured. Rehurt is waiting in the bush. Bandage toss possible. Lasers flying, and they do choose to step off. So first objective secured and first kill for SRC.
Nicely executed game plan from SRC. I noticed 30 seconds or more before that dragon came up, Jacob was already shoving in the mid wave pretty aggressively with Mist hovering around, and that gets them the priority in the river. They're able to convert that into the dragon. You know, it's hard for Dorado to walk in when all these bushes might have a Jarvan Orianna waiting in them. And they make the first move, and Dorado falls for the bait.
Yeah, they fall for the bait. They walk in a little bit haphazardly there, and it was great work from Jacob. His retail row now in trouble, as they will try to set this one up. There will be a slight pushback, and they did end up spotting out Mist waiting in there. Rehart going to go straight onto the Espada. Could have stole one there, but doesn't. Rehart does have that Curse of the Sad Mummy available, but here comes the Ornn Horn. It will be a nice setup. No, it gets stopped. Very well done by Rehart, but here is the trade back. Cahill is there, and they do manage to pick another kill up in trade and get the 6 grubs. So both kills have come from objective mistakes at this stage.
Espada getting a little over aggressive. I think has the shove in the top lane, but there's no help from mid, and Mist is still down in the bot side, finishing up that recall. So now, even though Dorado had kind of an iffy situation over at the Dragon, they're able to pick up an objective of their own. But now bot's getting aggressive.
Yeah, this is where Jinx wants to be. Get those lethal tempo procs in and just keep walking forward. There it is. There's the proc. Death will be stopped. No, gone measurable will take out Pola, will take out the second with that excitement. Get themselves a feat of warfare, and Jinx online.
Jinx online already, 2-0 now. Gonna shove in this wave and look to reset, but that is the win condition for Syndicate. You know, everyone else is pretty much just playing setup for her, it feels like. And that is beautiful. The shockwave locks Cahill in place, so she cannot flash the Jinx rocket. And now that's a third kill over to the Jinx.
Is that a BF sword on second back? Please tell me this isn't BF sword after you started Cole, the item that says I'm not going to get BF sword early. Please don't tell me to get it.
It's gonna
okay,
be,
no, we're going Kraken Slayer. Okay, okay.
Hearthbound Axe towards the Kraken Slayer, but that is a lot of components picked up, and that Jinx is going to be looking real scary real soon.
Yeah, it's just once the lethal tempo is procced, you just can keep going forward, and it's just really, really good work here to understand you have it there. And Pola just goes, "Yeah, I'm dead. I'm very sorry," and it's just done. There is Yeah, it's one of those things about Jinx that it's just once you get one, the second one feels so much easier. As a Jinx main, I just know like once I get one kill, it's like I could take 4 more. I could just keep walking. And that rocket is just great communication coming in from Jacob to pull back into the rocket. Now that's a play that you'll remember forever.
And looks great, gets Jinx even more fed, and I mean, Syndicate Reboot card looking really good in the early game here, but there might be a gank towards the bot side from Rehurt.
Yeah, this is the follow back as Amumu wants to try to get something on this one. Does use that flash. They know that there's nothing available, but double cleanses coming out will set them up once again. We do have bailout available. Rehurt does not get it, and there's the reset. There's kills, and this is going to start raining shots here from the Jinx. 1, 2, more damage, more setup. Here comes the rocket, set up for 3, triple kill for Measurable, and this game is looking lights out with a hyper carry this fed at 10 minutes.
6-0 at 10 minutes. I mean, you know, I'm of the never surrender mindset, but if I'm Dorado, I'm already thinking about it. Even though it's a competitive game, they're not gonna do it. They're not gonna do it, of course. But it's yeah, that is a tricky situation to come back from. I mean, they're gonna need to, you know, find a way to get this shut down onto the Victor or the Jhin, and maybe that'll give them a way back in. But here we see the play again.
Yeah, and here's the flash. This is where it all kind of goes wrong, is it's a flash, cleanse, and you think, oh, they've burned everything. Nope, Mist is here, Mist is ready. The setup is perfect. The bailout is on Amumu, which is great. They nearly get Mist, but the flash back out. Look, even smiting to try to get as much damage as possible. No one is in range, and it's just an easy setup here. Measurable just keeps walking forward. There's the double, and goes, I can't go on anymore. Hold on, rocket, done. Pola now standing there, and it's just... Oh, it's so tough. Oh,
it is. And Frozen Bullet looks caught again. Has the flash in a few seconds, but I mean, the damage is so much.
Not even hitting them to finish them off, because they know the damage that they trade back is just not worth it. As Measurable's like, I'll take the wave here. And yeah, as the enemy ADC now, as Pola was probably saying, it's just like, I don't know what to do here. Like, this is over down here. We need help, and you can't help because you'll die as well. So maybe we lane swap or something. Like, there has to be an answer, but that's going to be the dragon over now for the side of SRC as well. They're going to pick that one up nice and easy. They're going to get that bot tower, which means they're going to complete the feats. The stop is back. The Hillisang moment from Retail Row is just going to set Pola back further and further. It's a serrated Dirk and Swifties to a Kraken Slayer.
Pure disrespect from Retail Row, but I mean, they might have known Amumu was up there on those grubs, and it just helps them extend this lead even more. They're getting those platings down. Pola's, you know, pretty low, gonna be scary to walk up, and I think this might be a tower dive coming in from Mist as well.
Yeah, they do manage to get the 6 grubs on the side of Doge, so there is still decent work to be done there for them, as Rehurt is trying to find that second bandage toss, the one connect to minion onto the mid, but no, Mist now in the area with Retail Row. They're trying to find something onto Kehel here. They know there's no flash, so it's a nice easy setup straight into that command, and it is, look, it's pick and choose who you want to kill at this stage. Like, that shockwave, I don't even think it was necessary.
Yeah, once the Cataclysm comes down, I mean, it's just a matter of time. It's not, they don't have the AP or the AD to one-shot anyone quite yet, but that lasts long enough that they can take their sweet time finishing that kill off. And I mean, if things are just going from bad to worse for the side of Dorado, Syndicate playing really well in this early game.
Playing really, really well here, and I'm looking forward to seeing if there is going to be a shift somewhere on the map where Doge can break back into this one, as in the top side, at least Chili Crab has a CS advantage and is getting some pressure down, but slowly as the map starts to move around, Chili Crab won't be in that isolated 1v1 in the top side, as we do see Espada now setting up. The train will fly, the flash will be burned, and Mist permanently hovering, but it's all about this bot side. It's all about this Jinx. It's all about how far, and a change in build went from Kraken to Yuntal. I was going to try and point it out, but they were so far ahead, I feel like it would just be me BMing because they were 7-0 with a Kraken. Yuntal is the much better choice. I'm so glad you changed. You are now my favorite ADC in this game.
Wait, did Measurable sell the Kraken to get that? Oh, wow. Yeah. That's not something you see every day, but the lead is massive, so I mean, they're able to, you know, they got the luxury, I guess, of swapping things around like that. I mean, yeah, it feels like Gnar is kind of the one slightly winning lane for Dorado right now, but it's, I mean, the Gnar leans kind of in the direction of an early game pick, so Orin just has to sit there, farm up, is getting a lot of armor to withstand the Gnar, and as long as things don't go completely disastrous, that Orin is going to have a lot of impact in these team fights and just be able to upgrade the items if we even get there. I feel like Syndicate might be able to close out this game before that even becomes a major factor.
Yeah, it is. There is also some more comments going into the chat about the sell. It is worth it, guys. Just trust that this is the better build. Kraken Slayer is great for that little bit of burst you get every third auto, but you just want that crit. You just want that attack speed. You just want to go for this build. Like, Amumu does not have tank items yet. Gnar does not have tank items yet. There's no one that actually worries Jinx in terms of a tank, and Yuntal just allows you to. Look, it's the item that allows Jinx to get excited the fastest, apart from Collector. So, full trust in the Jinx. Great choice there to change it up. Realize they might have made a mistake in that build. Cole was 4 minions away. I would have stayed for that. Would you have?
Stay for that. I'm known to be a little greedy. I have died many a time staying for that extra wave for the the Cole or the just finishing like an item, but. Yeah, they probably could have done it. They're so ahead. I don't think even if they bring the jungler down, they probably win that 2v3. But I guess they want to, I don't know, get back over to the mid lane and pressure over there now. Try to grab this first tower in the next few minutes.
I wish I was modded in the Twitch chat for this, because I'd be putting a poll in right now on whether Jinx goes for the IE or the Runins, but no, it's going to be a Espada. I'm missing the train. That train is not hitting the station, as it will be Gnar trying to escape from the Ornn right now, as Espada still walking forward. Mist decides to go for it anyway, and that is a Smite and a Cataclysm to finish off the Gnar top side now secured. Espada will have all the time in the world, as on the opposite side, Rehart misses the bandage, wants to go for it anyway, lands it. This could be a kill, this could be something. Kehel will drop the ult. Rehart in trouble, but they will get it just about. That was an unfortunate sombrero.
That was unfortunate. I might have been able to trade one, and it's traded anyway, actually, with the rocket from downtown. I mean, that's a much needed shutdown onto the Victor. You want these passive stacks, to get the Victor online as soon as possible, and it is a decent chunk of gold. Still not going to make a huge dent in what is, a 4,500 gold lead for the side of Syndicate Reboot card. But I mean, that's where it starts if you are trying to play for the comeback on the side of Dorado. And yeah, we saw a great slam dunk in the top side though, and this feels like that's the one matchup that should be a little winning for the side of Dorado, but. Even then, Espada feels perfectly confident to just walk up and take the 1v1 with the Gnar.
Yeah, it is a case right now of like the goal lead is nearly 5k. It is just a wallet difference as long as Jinx is either in the area or on the map with an ult available. Espada is just tanking towers while simultaneously farming the waves. Has no fear of whatever could come down that lane. Even the top side, even though Jacob has been getting dove and is quite fearful of that it's fine if Jacob continues to die. It's still a scaling Orianna. They don't mind it as much. They can TP back, pick up some more waves. They can stay in the game. While on the other side, Kel is, I would almost say, stressing, trying to get as farmed as fast as possible, as that is a shockwave pulling in Rehart. They are trying to bandage toss their way out, but that's not quite how that works. Distance is based on how far away they are, not the actual bandage toss max range, as they get stuck under tower, pulled in. Now we see Ferns in a little bit of trouble here, as Espada is going to continue walking this one down. They will proc the bailout, as Retail Row will just send a football in, as they do.
And it feels like desperation for Dorado. I mean, Syndicate gets the dragon, and they still have all those TPs up to help out Jacob. They get a few extra kills in addition to the objective, and it looks like they're probably going to get this turret as well now that the Herald is dropped. And I mean, yeah, Kehel with an unfortunate teleport in there. Just actually didn't die, I guess, but basically TP'd into the middle of the whole enemy team, and that's a scary place to be.
It is, and they could have just stayed bot and could have picked up a few more waves and could have continued to try and scale into this game, as that Blackfire Torch is all that's in your inventory right now, and when you're a Victor, you kind of want to be at those 3 items, and we have to remember Dorado are a team that have been really, really good up to this point. They did take out the second seed team, which was Monkeys Cancun, in a 3-1. So they're by no means a bad team. They also took out another team on their way into this one. They didn't get the bye straight in like SRC Reboot card did. So they've played more games in these round of 12, into the quarters, into the semis. By no means are they out, and I'd be looking forward to seeing how deep their pools go, because that's the other thing we have to remember. Things change as these drafts go on. We are in Fearless, and there's a good chance that maybe we see SRC maybe drop a couple of games because Doge might just have better pools going forward. So this game, we can write it off. This has been pretty dominant, let's say.
It's been dominant, but I'd agree that some of Syndicate's wins have been off of repeated picks like the Cho, but here's another fight coming in.
Yeah, there is a fight, as it will just be Renata. No bailout even used. They know they're dead.
I mean, I don't know if you can even call that a fight. That's just picking on the support once again. 6 deaths now for the Renata, who has been bearing the brunt of a lot of this early aggression from the side of Syndicate. And it's another turret taken. Jinx is excited. They basically have the whole map. Now, there is an objective bounty claimed on the other side, but they're just going under the tower.
Oh, the combo comes true there. Jarvan setting themselves up nicely to set that Jinx up. As you just see the run through, just keep firing. And yeah, there's something about the Jinx. Look at the shots coming through, just ripping through teams. Yuntal, IE. The setup is there for them now. They have the combo to do it. And the best thing about Fearless is you're not going to see this Jinx again. This is the one time, and it's shining right now. 10-0.
That is the ADC player dream, getting some early kills like that and just being able to continue playing every fight. I mean, flashing in and winning the fight with it, that feels good. Sliding all over the place. Chili Crab trying to fight Jacob in the top side, but this Orianna is still very strong.
Orianna is still a little bit too strong, I would say. Is Nair only having completed that Triforce will not be able to get too much done is immeasurable now. Chasing down Chili Crab. Flash is available for the Nair, so I don't expect a death here, but anything is possible when you see the Jinx like this. And they do manage to land the zap. Auto, dead. No Flash being burned because they know they're toast.
I mean, that Jinx has those empowered boots and the Zeal, so it's a lot faster than this Gnar, able to catch up with the help of those Melio shields, and now this top inner turret is going to be the next victim of Syndicate Reboot card, it looks like.
Yeah, and they're moving around the map really well here and just picking up all of those outers. Now Espada is down in that bot side as well. TP is coming up pretty soon. We will see curtain call comes out from the Jhin. Fourth shot doesn't land. It's somewhere. It went somewhere. Just someone got hit by it. Maybe in the other game, on the other stream, someone's after getting a fourth shot by Jhin. But look, it's a game we can forget about in the terms of anyone that's a Doge fan. Just let it go. Just let it go. But SRC, momentum-wise, say you're on the side of SRC, you're playing the Orianna, you're the mid laner. You've got to be feeling great about how your team is playing.
You do. You've got to feel good about that. And I mean, yeah, going into next game, Syndicate's going to have the momentum. It is going to be a test of mental fortitude for the side of Dorado. I mean, losing a game like this can easily, break your team's mental if you're not ready for it. But and most teams, I think, have had an experience like this where things just go disastrously. And hopefully for the side of Dorado, they're able to recover, come in with a fresh plan and just fully reset for that next game.
Yeah, these are the times where you're like, let's just talk draft. It's no one's fault. We're just going next. But a great Ornhorn comes through there, and a Sombrero comes through. It's going to be a lovely setup here, as we do see that it will be Jinx getting kills all over, as they are doing damage to their own team as well. But it's 1, it's 2. Pola now in trouble. And look at those shots. It's just a constant mini gunfire quadra done clean. And it's an ace. It's the game. It's everything. It's the 80 carry game of dreams.
That minigun, those rockets are just looking like a full-on laser cannon. The attack speed is so much. Once you're getting close to that quadra kill, I mean, it is just pure attack speed. And they are gonna grab the inhibitor here. I don't think they have time to end the game, but I mean, that is potentially gonna funnel a little bit of farm over to the side of Dorado. Probably not gonna be enough. I think Syndicate has all the tools they need to close this out within the next few minutes. They're going to be getting the Infernal Soul here. They might be able to grab Otacon as well, and then after that, it's probably just going to be a Baron take in the game end, unless they slip up or Dorado's able to make a nice death push or something to get themselves back into this.
Like the question is how much CC can you get on Jinx fast enough that the cleanse misses? And then remember that there's a second cleanse on top of that. So there is the Death Bush option, but they need to land a Mumu Bandage Top cleansed, and then a Mumu ult that can be cleansed, and then Gnar has to be there in Gnar form, and the Dorado ult has to go over the top. There has to be so many things to go right for Doge in this scenario, and most of it is hoping that Measurable kills their own team. That's the main thing.
I think that is like the one way they win a team fight is Jinx getting excited onto her own team with the Renata ult. But like you mentioned, I mean, they have the Breath of Life, Breath of Life from Melio, and I mean, Victor's dead.
That's one. That's two. It will be a nice setup for Jinx with the attack speed. Rocket will miss, but they should be able to get another off the top of this one. Another reset comes through. That's 2 autos. Zap steps back. Perfect positioning and movement and micro and measurable. Legendary 17, 0, and 6. And that's an MVP candidate right there.
And it's easy to say, like, oh, Jinx got gifted the kills early. Of course, she's doing well this game, but she has played very well, I think, to not, not die at all. And we saw the sidestep there. The micro is really present for this Jinx, who's just now fountain diving the Gnar. And yeah, that's going to be a 25-minute win for Syndicate. They don't even need the Baron as they're playing with their food a little bit. Maybe going to try to pad the stats a little bit, but the Nexus will go down at least to minions. And yeah, that is a quick win for the side of Syndicate.
You can say that Jinx got gifted kills. It's like, not really, because you have to remember, Jinx is the aggressor in those fights that we saw. We saw Jinx walking forward, proccing the lethal tempo, throwing traps behind the line, and then following it up. Like, the first set of kills was all Jinx. Second one was a counter gank in which Jinx was still the one stepping forward into it and dodging the Amumu bandage toss to then follow up the kills and stay aggressive even though Mist was leaving. There was never a point where Jinx was handed a kill. It was always off of brilliant plays. So for the Caitlyn there with 38.3k every single time, Chris, every single time. It never changes. But look, it was an absolutely incredible game there. Like, it just, what can you say about it? They just took everything they needed. SRC is just way too good with a lead from what we saw with that one. I think it's the best way to put it, right?
Yeah, and I think, like you're talking about, I like to see ADC players really take the game into their own hands. I think a lot of people, when they're on something like the Jinx, are like, oh, it's just my job to farm. I'm not really going to play the lane. I'm just trying to get my CS up, and then I'm going to get to be a monster in the late game. But we saw here that Measurable was just, really playing around the synergy of that Jinx Melio lane to build the early lead and convert it into total domination as the game progressed.
I saw Chris got it wrong again, and then he just went to us instead. Love that, Chris. Love that from you. But we will be taking a very quick break before we get into game 2, where we hope to see DOG come back into this stronger draft, stronger mental, and break into this one and tie it all up. But we'll be back in just a few moments. Please don't go anywhere. And we are back. Game 2. Big steps to be taken here by DOGE, or as dog as I like to call them, as I do see a cat in the background there. I'm going to just point that one out really quickly. But yeah, big game here for them. Monumentous win there for SRC with a very, very dominant Jinx and with no Fearless, as we've now been told by our wonderful director of all things production that didn't tell us this. There could be another Jinx on the cards. I feel like it should be taken away, but Freedom Potatoes, I do got to ask you something. What would you do if you were dog? Would you let them have it again and find a better answer, or would you just ban it?
So I was looking a little bit at the kind of play history, like the champions that Pola has picked before, and it seems like they like a lot of these kind of shorter range, aggressive ADCs. And I think if you are going to leave the Jinx up, I think you need to play something that can really go very aggressive into it and punish, the level like a Lucian Nami or something like that that can really set her on the back foot early on. I think in that game, they had a lane that kind of can neutralize, but just even like the little missteps that they made got the Jinx ahead, and it was very hard to play from that point onwards. So yeah, if they do decide to leave it up, I would like to see a little bit more aggressive of an early lane from them.
Yeah, I do feel like the main thing was that Jinx got hyper accelerated. It is one of those cases where it just went a little bit too far. There's always the case that if it was a rerun and Jinx didn't get those 3 kills immediately, the game would have been very different. But we also have to remember that across the rest of the map, we also saw Espada doing very well on the top side, some very heavy trading into Chill Crab, really taking control of the lane. Rehurt didn't quite have the same effect as Mist. Mist seemed to always be in the right place, while Rehurt was kind of misstepping, I would say, just like a beat off in some of these cases. And in the mid lane, Kehl had a really good time into Jacob. Really, really good time. Really good poke. Really good control in the lane. But the lane accelerated to a point where there was Jinx rockets hitting you. You were dying. You couldn't stay in a side lane because they were using Rift Heralds on the top side. You were being dragged around the map when all you wanted to do was farm. So as much as Measurable did take over the game, the rest of the map didn't seem to be in a winning position as much, right?
And I feel like Syndicate Reboot card had kind of like the textbook definition of an easy to execute draft. You've got, very easy engage with the Jarvan Orianna combo as well as the Ornn. You have a hyperscaling ADC and an Enchanter support. So they have that late game insurance, but they were also able to build that early game lead. And I think a lot of times that is the name of the game, is just ease of execution. How much do you really have to work to get those kills, to get yourself ahead in the first place? And it seemed like Syndicate had a very easy time with their draft.
Yeah, they seemed very, very comfortable. And I think it's one of those golden things I always say, where it's like the more circles you have, the better, as long as you have a carry to go with it. So a classic example is Galio, Jarvan, Camille, great circles. And then you just like throw in a carry. You throw in anything that has that hyper scaling capability, and the game gets very, very easy. I do think we might see a little bit of a change up in terms of the way Doge might want to play this one. I think they might either go down the route of, I want to play by myself. You have ruined my game. I don't want to be near you. Let me do my thing, and we'll see if we can find a win condition. Or it'll say, they won through a wombo. Let's see if we can break it down and do it ourselves. So I'd like to see what they want to do with it. There is still a lot to work on in terms of drafting, and I can't wait to jump in and see what they want to do with it. But I am a little bit worried that we're going to see Jinx get banned. I'm going to be honest. Jinx is going to get banned.
Dorado is on blue side this game, so if Jinx is something they wanted to pick themselves, that is an option that's on the table. I feel like historically, it looked to me like Pola has kind of leaned a little more towards like shorter range ADCs that can put out a lot of early aggression. So that could be another angle they take, is if Syndicate's going to be running a hyper carry, then I think Dorado could look to punish that with some early aggression out of their bot lane. That seems to be kind of where they've excelled in the past. But so far, no Jinx ban. We'll see if it's banned away by Syndicate, so gonna deny it from themselves, but also deny it from Dorado. I mean, I think Jinx is a very strong pick in competitive play. If she gets even a little accelerated, she can totally take over. And it looks like Dorado does not want to see the Jarvan show up again either.
Yeah, a B1 pick Jinx is Very strong, it's very secure in the way that it's played. You just need something that can heavily dive that bot side to really destroy that Jinx, and you need good controlling bullies. So taking it away is always smart. Force them onto something that is a little bit... That's an interesting one, because that's flexible. That can be changed. That can be moved around. But considering that Jinx has been taken and Varus has been taken, I do feel like Tristana would have been fine into a Jinx, so they could have nearly handed that one over. That could have been a very nice flex into a Jinx. But yeah, a Caitlyn to follow it up. I wonder if it's going to be one of those like Caitlyn Hui lanes that I keep seeing in like Lost Ratones games, and it just works every single time.
You have the gift of prophecy.
It's the new looks. It's the new looks.
That Hui could still be mid, where I haven't seen Retail Row play the Hui support, but that could be something they've been practicing behind the scenes in scrims. We can't always, that doesn't always show up in the live games. It's going to be a Cassante now grabbed for the side of Dorado. Interesting picking the top lane so early in the draft, but they've got a lot of dive coming through this game, which I do like. I think that kind of favors more the playstyle that they like to go with.
I was thinking, didn't they ban Jax in the second rotation the last time around? Weren't they worried about a Jax?
It seemed like they were,
Viego,
but they're gonna grab the Viego. Now that is something that Mist likes to play. I mean, that might even be the namesake champion of like for the Black Mist. Not sure where that comes the name comes from, but I feel like that's at least a plausible guess.
It is now. It is now that you've said it. That's where it comes from now. You've christened him and baptized him in that name. But I am happy to see that they're banning away the Talia here in such a heavy kind of like push comp where everyone wants to jump. Great little ban coming through there. The Blitzcrank is decent as well, which leads me more to believe that is going to be a Hui support, because that is Hui's kryptonite, is having a Blitzcrank pulling you out and you can't use your little paintbrush to paint yourself out of that situation. But the Jax hasn't been taken here, so I feel like they kind of have to take the Jax at this stage.
Jax is something that Spot has played with. I'm not sure what's going on there, because I see a Jinx, but Jinx is also banned. So
I can hear production on fire in the background. Someone is sprinting back and forth. I'll get confirmation on that in a couple of seconds to make sure that they're okay and not.
It is Jax. It is Jax. Okay, so as you predicted, and it's going to be a Rel paired with the Tristana. So very aggressive bot lane, kind of trying to match the poke that might be coming out of Syndicate's bot. And I mean, this is. It's always the question of like, how early are you able to engage with a lane like this Tristana Rel? Because if you get poked out, then taking that hard engage is just going to make you look silly. And now the mid lane matchup looks like it's going to be a Sylas against a Victor. Victor can get an early lead. I mean, we saw Kehel last game playing very aggressive with the lane bully potential of the Victor, but Sylas on the other hand has a lot of snowball potential if a gank comes through and if Sylas is able to pick up an early kill there. So gonna be excited to see how that one plays out. Yeah, I mean, I think Dorado has a little bit clearer of an identity this game than in the first game. But I also think Syndicate has pretty good answers into it. They have, overall, I'd say they have kind of the range advantage, especially in this early game, that might help them build up a lead and snowball into the mid game. But yeah, what do you think about these drafts?
I think an Orianna is the only thing that's standing out that would have fit better into Doja's comp when you add in the Orianna ult and the Nocturne combo. I think that's one thing I might have changed from the draft myself. The Jax must have been a comfort as it was banned previously, and the Sylas doesn't really fit in my mind. I think a control mage here just works out better. I think you're kind of lacking in that. I know you have the Hui, but it's not going to have as much damage as you want, and it's not going to have as much setup as you want. So that is a crazy invade. How did you end up there?
I guess maybe they're anticipating that the bot lane for Syndicate's going to be playing in that bush instead of watching their own jungle, and so Nocturne has slipped behind enemy lines here, but there's a fight level 1 already. Not going to be too much damage traded on either side, but yeah, it's a great point you made with the Orianna ball. I mean, that synergizes so well with the Nocturne and the Rel alike. Those are, both are very easy wombo combo pairings, so yeah, but we saw the proficiency on the Victor coming out of Kehel. I think that was like one of the brighter spots for Dorado in game number 1. Yeah, I mean, there's those heavy trades coming in the early game. And I want to see if this Viego has any inkling that their bot side jungle is being stolen away, or if Rehurt is going to come out with a big farm lead in this early game, because that could really swing things for this jungle matchup.
Yeah, just getting all of the camps on his bot side and Viego not quite reading that one well is going to be a great start for them, as we are watching the trading happening in the top side at the moment. Espada looks very comfortable, and anyone that uses that skin on Jax with that chroma, you know that they know what they're doing. It's one of those we know. As Rehurt does get a little bit of damage down, I fully expected to see that gank, and Viego should have that information now that the invade has happened. You've lost everything on your bot side. We should see Viego heading over to the top side of the... No, he's going to take the Raptors here. This is an interesting one, as they're so close. They're so close, but not quite there, as Miss will steal away those Raptors, and hopefully we'll see them go into that top side now and actually get an advantage there. So a great little bit of movement and maybe a gank mid.
Yeah, and also important to know that Retail Rogue burned the exhaust in that bot gank, which is going to open up a lot of opportunity for Dorado's bot lane to go aggressive here. Neutralizing a bit of that early strength on the wave in the poke battle that this bot lane for Syndicate has, I think is, exactly what they need to try to get an early lead. But now Mist getting to steal away the top side in addition to those Raptors, so it's kind of a question of, was that gank actually worth it? Showing your face, making it really clear where you are on the map is gonna kind of neutralize that early farm lead. I think it's gonna be dead even when all is said and done here.
Sylas moves first though, and I'm not seeing pings come out just yet. I know that they're in a call, but I do like seeing pings regardless. It's that extra little bit of noise to tell you something's going on, as Rehurt will be intelligent and drop the ward and spot that one out early. Spots both the top and the jungle, and Jacob will return to that lane, as there is a sizable lead now appearing for Kehel in that mid lane, as just that Victor comfort really showing here.
Indeed, that Victor really seems to be a comfort pick because, I think identity-wise, like you mentioned before, an Orianna might have fit into the draft a little better, but I do think comfort is king in most cases. If you can pilot your champion, it can matter a lot more than the matchups in all but the most extreme of cases. Kehel is a little bit low on mana here, so we'll be having to reset. The Sylas able to trade health for mana pretty effectively, but there's a fight in the bot side jungle now.
There is a fight in the bottom of the jungle, and this should be a nice easy setup for Mist to get this one off, as they try to flash in front of the Nocturne to predict the flash. There was something there. I also do want to point out that there has been a sub made as well, as Frozen Bullet is not in this one. Angel is actually taking up that support role.
I mean, I'm not sure if this is just a gameplay based substitution, because that was a pretty rough first game for Frozen Bullet, or if this is just something that was planned around because of schedule, etc. But yeah, that was an interesting flash from this. I think the idea was to kind of make the fear push you towards Nocturne's escape route instead of away, but Rehurt also has a flash, so it's just a trade of flashes. But now the Dragon going to be started up and uncontested, so that's going to be a free objective over to the side of Syndicate Reboot card, playing around the early priority they have bot lane here, and it's free for them.
Yeah, it's free for them, as there is a bit of trading going down, as Angel will disappear back into the lane as they kind of get bullied out of their own tri-bush there, and we once again see those Raptors being taken away by Mist here, as they managed to get aggressive onto this one. Smite is available and they will take that one away, but Rehurt wants to go for this fight. Jacob is going to be there first. It will be the first move from the side of SRC as they are on this fight, but Nocturne doing very well here. There's the return. Kehel does manage to get the first kill. She sets herself up nicely, but the return with their own Storm will take out the Nocturne. Do you win this one? The lasers aren't quite upgraded yet. Jacob in a little bit of trouble. There's someone airy flying, but that's the damage now missing as Pola manages to get one more. It's everywhere. It's messy. It's unbelievable, and Jacob somehow turns it.
I mean, the Sylas is so strong in these extended fights, really likes the skirmishy style a lot more than the Victor in the early game. I do think, once that first leg of the scuffle has kind of finished, I think it's probably better if Kehel just goes back to farming that mid lane and kind of tries to use the positional advantage there instead of chasing into the pink warded bush. I think she was actually trying to clear out the pink ward when Jacob takes that re-engage and then wins that in the end. It was close, but I wouldn't want to tussle with the Sylas, who has all those cooldowns back up at this point in the game.
Yes, we do see Tristana now returning to lane, very close to getting that Yuntal themselves. So a good advantage this time around in Doge. That they need something like that. So a big turnaround for how that lane went the first time around. So that's already looking good. Drake SRC, Grubs over to DOGE, and Jacob is kind of the standout right now for SRC. That Silas can be a pretty big carry threat if left in isolation in that mid lane to further bully Kehel now with their advantages.
I mean, Victor can have a really hard time getting a diver like Silas off of you. You know, when you throw down the gravity field, it takes a good while before you actually get the hard CC out of it, as they're trying to take a fight down in the bot side here.
Yeah, Pola, this is the time you want to go in, but this... Oh, the exhaust was absolutely frame perfect, as that will just be absolute destruction in the bot side. Mist now coming around as well. Retail Row might just fall to Angel, but no. Great usage there from Measurable to just slice through them. And look, Piltover Peacemaker keeps getting changed, keeps getting nerfed. It still does damage, though.
It does a lot of damage, and really well played around the traps by Measurable. You know, paired with the exhaust and that persistent slow coming out of the Hui. It's yeah, I mean, it's just so tough to continue walking forward. The initial trade looks good, but I think maybe you just have to be happy with burning the exhaust and backing off, because you can easily take that re-engage, you know, just like 15-20 seconds later when all your CDs are back up. But instead, what was looking really good for Dorado's bot lane is now nicely neutralized by the side of Syndicate.
Yeah, really, really well done there from Measurable on the Caitlyn to bring back that lane. As Retail Row will find Angel. Level 6 to level 5. Retail Row has that ult available. Will they use the Spiraling Disaster? No, they won't. I felt like that could have been a kill.
I think it was an angle they could have looked for. Angel doesn't have the flash, and if you land that Spiraling Despair, it takes it's a very long, very powerful slow that I think could get, you know, Mist or Jacob into range to land some more CC and get you that kill. But I mean, they're just going to take a little bit of priority down in the bot side, and just now fighting in the mid lane. Oh.
Yeah, Kehel and Jacob going for a little bit of a trade here, as we will see that Victor will use the Arcane Storm. And it won't do a lot, as Kehel, she's in a little bit of trouble now. She's going back to get that Blackfire Torch, and that might keep them in it. But Jacob is getting the better of this lane now.
Little bit of a misclick there. You know, a lot of the power of the Arcane Storm is in that initial tick of damage when you first cast it, and that was just placed just off of Jacob, so didn't end up getting too much value there. Still, I think this Victor is going to be a strong scaling pick for Dorado, going to be really important in those late game team fights. And is doing okay in this matchup overall, but I think there might be a gank happening mid right now.
Could be a gank happening, as we do see Mist does manage to kill Kehel alone. Jacob wasn't even in the area, as it was just a straight solo kill from Mist, so great work there from the jungler. But we do see Angel going for the all-in. Here comes Pola, ready to jump in. Barrier is still available for Measurable as well, and they will proc it immediately, make sure all that damage is stopped. The shutdown comes through as Pola will pick up one. They have the jump available. Should still be a little bit scared of Retail Row's return damage, but no more paint on the brush, as a double kill for the Tristana.
Tristana back in the lead, in the driver's seat of this bottom lane, and even though Angel was pretty low on the initial engage, I mean, the CC and the burst damage from this ADC is enough to get both of those kills. Nicely done for Dorado's bot lane, but I think Syndicate Reboot card is still going to get the dragon here because they have the advantage in that mid jungle right now.
Yeah, after Mist got that kill in the mid lane, we'll be more than comfortable going into that one, knowing that Kehel is probably not feeling the fight right now, wants to just get a couple more minions, get that farm, that scaling in. You want to be getting those upgrades, as we do see laser upgrade number 1 has come true, as they are going to try and invade those raptors again. Those raptors are not yours, Mist. Please stop. That's a big engage coming through, as Rehart will use that ult. Darkness will descend upon the rift, and their very best attempts are feared, but they make it. That chem plant saving them, as Retail Row, Measurable, now in a lot of trouble. That's not a position you want to be in. Gromp will not help you. You just shot it in the face.
And it's looking like a reversal of game number 1 in the bot lane, as now that's the 3rd death for Measurable, and the fight in the jungle might continue even longer here.
Yeah, it's not stopping, as Rehart just wants to keep going here. Mist now in a lot of trouble. There comes the Arcane Storm. 1 kill set up. Jacob will manage to escape from this one and hold on to that Nocturne ult, but just, you didn't need to re-engage there.
I think Gromp is something that you should be perfectly happy giving up. Just go farm the top side, keep yourself in the game. But that's pretty tough for Mist. Going to be on a death timer while Nocturne's taking the reset, and these grubs might be the next point of pressure around the map. So I'm trying to remember. I don't see who got the first ones, but those could be the objective that decides who gets feats here if Syndicate was able to get those earlier. Chili Crab almost takes out a Spada in the top side. Mist is here
almost
to cover,
takes out a Spada, but here comes Viego, here comes the Mist, and Chili Crab wants to go for the dive. This might be your disaster here. They will manage to pick up the kill, but the trade back will be just as important as Mist will pick that one up. And will also take the wave for their troubles. There is a TP advantage also available for Chili Crab here, so they're not going to miss out on too much. But look at the rotation already coming through. I just don't think it's a good one because grubs are great, but your bot tower is going to fall to a Caitlyn.
Yeah, there's no one down there to answer. I mean, I guess the idea is for Pola to put some pressure down on this top tower, but there's the TP from Espada, and the stolen Nocturne ult as well means Tristana might be in danger.
Here comes Jacob, and if there's anyone that can use a Nocturne ult, well, it is Silas, as they do manage to break that one down. Mist wants to continue to fight, though. Mist, that is a little bit too far as the rest of your team is peeled off. Miscommunication there, but they do manage to pick one up. Jax will jump in. Espada now trying to fight 1 versus 2, 3, 4. It's everyone from the side of Doge is going for this one. There comes the Arcane Storm. There comes the damage. There's no point in running. You are done as Chili Crab will take that kill. Jacob now in no man's land as that tower is just looking to be feasted upon.
Silas is a tricky champion to dive, though. Has a lot of sustain and some CC. Nice dodge on the first hit, and yeah, I think they're going to have to call that one off. But it is, a very bloody game this time around with Dorado getting the slight upper hand in terms of kills. But yeah, they lost that bottom side tower over to Syndicate's bot lane, which I think they didn't have to do that. So I'm not sure if I'm a fan of the rotation on the whole there, but still, I'm going a lot better for Dorado than game number 1 did.
Yeah, the one thing I am kind of happy about is that we are going to see a massive fight for the next objective, because both teams are on the cusp of completing the feats. Both teams are just about there, so we are going to see a massive fight around what should be Drake, as I think Rift should be a little bit later than that one. So everyone is going to have to fight for this Drake. We're going to see everyone there now. It is Chemtech. I know the top left is saying Cloud, please ignore Riot spectator system. It never worked. It's never worked for us. They don't like us, but we should see a big fight as Espada and Chili Crab are just going to scrap it out as per usual.
And it's a nice sized lead for Chili Crab this time around. Almost 40 CS up. I mean, Jax is going to be collecting that wave now, so it'll go down a little bit. But despite not being in like a ranged versus melee matchup, the lead is way bigger for this Cassante, and that's going to be nice for Dorado to have a really strong front line to back up the rest of this dive comp that they've got going on.
Quick question for everyone in chat. How many champion abilities in this game have strike in it? Or strikes? See if anyone can get it. An interesting one. You want to have a guess at it?
I'm trying to think about it. I know Cassante has one, but who else does?
Oh, never mind as well.
There's
We'll
a flash
drop down the Magnus Storm as they go all in for this one, but there is a beautiful setup as Rehurt will last time sends Caitlyn into the wrong side of that wall and they get pulled back in. Decent damage coming back from Retail Rose. Jacob is going to attempt to take the Nocturne ult. Will set themselves up for this one. Will they go deep for this though? No, they won't. They're going to go shallow, and it will be a nice easy jump away from Pola. And this was the fight I was talking about. Everyone is in the area for it. They want to take this fight. They want this Drake. They want to set themselves up, but Jacob will get sent back. CC comes through. They will dash. They will escape, but that Drake firmly in the hands of Doge, unless Mist has an answer. And so far Mist has not given up much, wants to fight for everything. So Mist, it's all on you. It's on 2-1. It's nearly gone. It's already gone. The fight is done. Espada does manage to jump in, takes out 1. We will see Pola fall. That is a big carry gone from this fight as Espada continuing the damage on the back. Mist trying to escape from Chili Crab, but Espada is just ripping through members. 1, 2, 3. Kehel now, she's trying her very best to escape from this. Espada wants to go forward, wants to jump, but the rest of the fight goes in favor of SRC. Does that matter though? Because he won feats. Everyone loves reboots. Espada,
I mean, feats are nice, but Espada is getting very strong here.
He wants to get more and more kills. The jump is available. Are they going to go for this one? No, they won't. And the answer was 4. There's 4 abilities called it. Oh, never mind.
Okay.
Went for it.
That's a little bit
too
over
much.
aggressive, but I mean, the victor is going to be very happy about that now, sitting at 3, 2, and 4. Probably going to have completed all or most of those passive upgrades, and yeah, I mean, it's still pretty much dead even. Slightly gold lead over to the side of Syndicate after all is said and done. Getting, well, I guess what ended up being a 4-for-2 kill trade in that fight off the back of a really big engage by Espada, leaping into, I think, 4 people, and now we've got a pause coming through. But
Go back to my game. It's 4 champions have strike in one of their abilities. So it's Intofo strikes from Cassante, leap strike and counter strike from Jax. And the one that will probably get people is Rel's Q is shattering strike.
Yeah. Forgot about that one. I probably could have gotten Jax if I thought about it a little more, but it's tough to do when the teams are fighting so much on screen. I mean, we've got 26 kills at 18 minutes here. So it is a very, very bloody game this time around. And Dorado playing kind of for revenge against Measurable, it feels like. Now sitting on 4 deaths on the Caitlyn. They are going deep for that carry in most of these fights, and it's working out decently for them so far, it feels like.
They have a lot of access to that backline. It's something we didn't really highlight during the start, but I'm sure both of us noticed it as the absolute top tier casters that we are, that they do have a lot of very, very good backline access. Cassante can get the backline Nocturne, and this is where the pause happened because we're a couple of seconds behind. So we've got to wait for this one, as it is a good setup here. Retail Row will
doesn't land. I was about to say that's
like
like
face check though, right? Because he used an ability to check it first. Great work.
I mean, if the timing's off by just a millisecond there, I think Rel does get the CC. And I was about to say that looks like a top 10 photos taken seconds before disaster. But in the end, Retail Row is perfectly fine just walking away, and they are going to clear out a little bit of that vision. But Crab's going to go down, and we'll see if Dorado's able to pick up this Herald, or if Syndicate Reboot card makes a play to contest it here. Retail Row misses the CC, which might open up an engage opportunity. But no, they're just going to play it slow, clear out the mid-wave, and try to make a move now. Maybe. Yeah, but they don't have a lot of vision in the area, so the approach is pretty scary, and this Rift Herald is about to go down.
Yeah, great work there as they do manage to pick that one up with the fight breaking out. They do manage to get onto that backline once again, but the flash used by Measurable. The positioning is just not quite there, though, as they can't micro their way out of that one. Espada now trying to find the right place to get into this fight, but we'll see Pola escape. The rest of the fight breaking out as it is 1 kill, 2 kill. Espada joins though, and this is where Jax absolutely takes over fights. They just need to keep moving. They can't stop as Espada trying their hardest to take out that kiting Tristana, but they can't. And this time, the fight in favor of Doge.
Pola living by the skin of his teeth there on this Tristana, and playing nicely around the kind of super blast cone, was kind of hovering on it, making Espada think, oh, maybe I can go back in for a jump, maybe I can't, and ends up buying a lot of time for the team to kill everyone else, and then rejoins to finish off that Jax. So big fight for the side of Dorado here.
Yeah, Mist always just a couple of steps behind her as they try to join this fight after it's already gone. And then look at the difference. The fight breaks out. Measurable has not fired an auto, puts down a trap. One auto attack over the course of that entire fight, just not being able to free fire. There is no protection coming in for the Caitlyn. This is one of those things about the way Caitlyn lane. Yes, you can do damage in lane. Yes, you can bully, but if you don't get space in those later games, you can't do your damage. And Espada trying their best here in what is a 1 versus 3. But what can you really do against a Tristana? They're known for kiting.
And that's, yeah, I mean, Dorado's team composition really wants to dive that backline. So I think it's great for them that they have this Tristana who can dive with them. But also, if she gets dove by someone like this Jax, she has multiple tools to say, get off of me or just jump out of there. And so that gives them, I think, a lot of flexibility in how they play these fights. You know, they're not like abandoning a Jinx or someone else who really needs to be kept alive and kind of be babysat by the rest of the team.
Yeah, they can reposition by themselves, and they don't need someone standing in front to make sure that they're safe. You can always just get out, and it's going to be very hard for them to set themselves up in these fights if Pola is able to continue moving like that. But I think the big thing we have to watch when it comes to the next couple of stages is when Jinx or Caitlyn starts to get those items, starts to get those one shots on the table. That's when we'll start to see it open up for measurable, and they'll be able to do a little bit more, as Rehard won't be able to just dive them at ease. But for the moment, just 2 items. So they still need a little bit more to go with.
And despite everything that's happened with Dorado jumping onto this Caitlyn, the ADCs are on equal items here. Actually, speaking strictly in terms of stats, the Doran's Blade is giving the Caitlyn a slight edge overall here. But they're going to sacrifice the Dragon. They've already got 2 of them, so they're not too worried about the stacking towards Soul yet. Oh, Pola.
Is it Pola or is it Espada in trouble now? As it will be all 4 members now collapsing onto that Jax's. They have learned the way of the plants.
The super blast cones from this Chemtech Rift are going to help Espada get out of there. It looked like they were maybe going to send the Jax into the middle of Dorado's team, but there's enough mobility on that character to get out. So it's going to be the trade of that middle inner turret for the Dragon, and Dorado might be thinking about going for Otacon. No, they're going to just reset and kind of evaluate what they're going to do next here. I do think that bot turret and Otacon are kind of going to be the big pressure points in the next few minutes. You know, there's no dragon spawning for a while. It's still 2.5 minutes till Baron's up as well. So that's where I'd expect to see these teams focus their efforts. But it is an objective that takes a lot longer to get done. So, it might not happen right away.
No, I think there'll be a little bit of a time buffer, hopefully, for the Akatan to come through. Yeah, at the moment, I'm staring at this game and I'm just like, the goal lead is just not really there for either team. It's like, it's not enough for us to really speak about. The kills don't really matter when the goal is even in Drake's. It's those 6 grubs is kind of the biggest difference here, and the Rift Herald being available for the Nocturne. So one good fight could see the base opened here, and Doge could take a commanding lead. But at the moment, the lanes don't really seem like they're under pressure. The fights are very, very tough for them, but the sense that they have control in the lanes, I still feel is there for SRC.
Yeah, I mean, they've got kind of the range advantage to get priority for these objectives in the bottom lane. They can clear out these waves so fast and then look to move. I mean, I think Chili Crab does have a decent setup into the Jax. Is a little ahead in that matchup, but that's not where the lanes are. And that was a dive onto measurable again.
Yeah, there's nothing to talk about there. It's just death.
It's I mean, that's just the ADC experience. If there's a strong Nocturne in the game, you know, who has the Stride Breaker to stick on you and has the what's the Hex, why am I forgetting the name of that item? The Hex Plate to get the reduced ultimate cooldown. I mean, you're just going to be getting Dova on repeat if you're not playing really, really safe. So stepping up a little bit too far for these waves is deadly for the Caitlyn, and now that mid turret's answered, and I think Otacon is going to be the play here. Maybe they're going to send one person up to that top lane to stop Espada from getting too much. Also, Kehel's in a lot of danger now.
That is a lot of danger there, as it could be over the wall. There it is, Heartbreaker. As Mist will reappear in the fight as Victor. And trying to chase this one then. They have a little bit of movement speed from that extra push of the Hui. But yeah, that experimental Hexplate is one of those items that is great when you're Nocturne and going in. But when you're running away, it doesn't give you much. But in this scenario, it will.
But now the Otacon's being started up by Syndicate Reboot card. And I don't know if Dorado has the vision to answer this. So, you know, it's kind of a disaster for them in the sense that they had the tempo advantage off of that pick onto measurable, and then Kehel gets caught. I don't know if that was just trying to poke or what, but they might be getting the Baron on the other side, and Syndicate doesn't seem to know about this. Retail Row is running kind of in that direction, and they are going to channel the teleport, so looks like they do know after all, but this is a scary approach for the Hui.
Is it though? Because that is the perfect size corridor for Hui to play in. Absolutely loves that squeeze, as we do see darkness comes through. It will be smited away, but if they take this fight and wipe them, it doesn't matter, and they get everything they need. But Jacob, he's onto the back. He's got to get something here. Angel now gets the setup though. 1-2. Victor punching away that Arcane Storm, building and building, as Pola now able to jump forward. Measurable base gained, death also gained.
And there's the flash. It's a triple kill for Pola on this Tristana. It's Baron secured. And I think if you're Dorado, you're a lot happier to come out with the Baron and those 4 kills than Syndicate getting that Otacon, because they can easily break the base here. They've got 3 people marching down mid. Espada has to recall, and they're going to send the Victor down to get at least one turret in the bot lane, probably. They've got those 6 scrubs, so these turrets just melt. But they're maybe going to actually back off before going for this inhibitor. Maybe they don't want to give that farm over. Maybe they're just not 100% confident in their ability to get that done before the respawns come through. But still, that is going to give a nice gold lead to Dorado, and I think they're going to be able to push the pace of this game a little bit more in these next few minutes, because they are going to have domination on the map with the threat of that Nocturnal coming through.
Yeah, and here comes the Nocturne ult now. Puts everything on nearsighted, and it's great, but you're not going, Jacob. You need to move. You need to send it in. But no, nothing happens there. Now we see Pola, right? The sort of pressure is there. Immediately, Angel jumps in front, says, no, you are not getting that one. And from there, Pola's free firing, and Kehel is free firing. Espada even TPing into the pit in the back of that one, and just kind of has to jump out and leave. But as we do jump back to live, we do see a fight happening in the mid and top as Measurable. A little bit far forward here as Pola could go for something. Here it is. Here comes the Nocturne. Experimental health plate. Be damned, you're done.
And I mean, that's death number 8 for this Caitlyn. That's just brutal. It's yeah, domination on the map now for Dorado as they've gotten that Baron. They've got the 6 scrubs, and they might look to end the game here. I mean, they've got one of the 2 real wave clear threats out of the way as they go onto these Nexus turrets, but their wave is looking a little thin. But there's another one coming in.
There is another wave coming in, but this is the fight you need to take, as we do see Retail Roll lands it on the Kel. That will be an immediate Zonya, so Victor out of commission for a couple of seconds, but it's not enough time, as we do see immediately the turn back. Doge too far ahead, wallet diff. We do see people falling left and right, and a great ult coming through, and a great setup. Miss trying to break back to the Heartbreak, break back to the body, but they can't. Dragged away by Cassante. Espada will take out Pola, but in the background, the Nexus will be taken. Rehurt taking no prisoners and taking game 2.
Great job by Dorado to turn it around after that game number 1. I mean, that takes some mental resilience, I think, to play up against a Jinx that was, I don't know, like 20-0 or something, and come right back and say, you know what, we are going to play aggressive. We got beaten pretty hard in that first game bot lane, but we're going to do better this time around, and they really make it work. They've got the dive comp, and they just make Measurable's life total hell. You know, it was pretty neck and neck for a lot of that game, but they blow things open with that Baron buff, with that team fight afterwards, and they close it out in pretty good time afterwards.
Yeah, both games have been pretty sharp and quick, and I do like to see dominant games to really kind of set the momentum back, say, no, we can beat you faster. So I want to see if they can do it again, keeps them all under 30 minutes, and just it comes down to draft and how they play it, and it's all the time. I'm going to say this after every single game. It's that bot lane. It's one or the other. Who is going to win, Pola or Measurable? And it was 4-4, 4-5, and then Pola just starts to pull ahead with that extra peel. And that's one of the biggest talking points we're going to have, is how much protection is afforded to Measurable and Pola in these games. And this game, Pola had everything in front of them, and Measurable was just left out to dry.
Yeah, I mean, that's a tricky thing of playing a bot lane like that Caitlyn Hui. You know, if you can control that space and stop the enemy from getting on you in the first place, it's really easy to play. But when you've got something like the Nocturne that has an unstoppable go button, and you know, all of those slows to set up the rest of the team to follow up, it gets a lot harder. So I really like the Nocturne for the side of for the side of Dorado. I think that was for Dorado. That was extremely effective for them, and you know. Yeah, they fought back very well in this game. I'm excited to see what adaptations both teams will make for game number 3, because I think we've gotten to see both sides of like you mentioned, the dominance in the bot lane.
Yeah. At the moment, it has been both sides of the coin have been flipped, but will the coin flip go in favor of SRC, and will we go 2-1, 2-2, back to all the way to game 5? No one knows, and right now it is all down to those drafts. So teams, go get ready. We're going to do the same, and we'll be back in just a couple of moments for game 3. Don't go anywhere. I'm going to say it one last time that we do need to get a small upgrade on the fact that the Rift no longer looks green. I'm going to say that to Sems and the rest of the crew behind the thing, and especially Chris. But we are here for Game 3 with SRC and DOGE or Dorado or Doge or Dog or whatever you want to call them. I try to change it every time to throw off other casters that work with me. It's a lot of fun. But Freedom Tales is here with me and definitely on form. So Game 3, talk to me. What are you expecting here?
So game number 2, I mean, we saw a big change up in style from Dorado, and I think it worked excellently in their favor. I think now it's kind of on Syndicate Reboot card to make the response, maybe see if they can, play something that maybe a little more peely that can deal with the dive that Dorado's putting out. I mean, of course, things could totally start over fresh in the draft. They could be playing totally different team comps. We're not going to know until we get in there, but I am expecting Dorado to kind of try to continue that aggressive play style they were rocking in the last game. And yeah, going to see if Syndicate can kind of match it with aggression of their own or play something that's a little more able to kite back, keep their carries safe, and, play the team fights that way.
Yeah, also another thing I want to point out is because we don't know what the side selection is going to be from SRC after their loss on this one. So I am slightly interested to see if they're going to opt into the blue side and whether things have shifted here in Conqueror to always taking blue side as your choice. As historically, everyone goes red side, I want the counter pick. As League has developed more, that priority first pick is becoming more and more important, and it's kind of breaking down drafts a lot quicker. Whereas counters were so important in the likes of top lane. We've seen it 1,000 times before. Solo queue especially. That cat is flying around the spot. But another thing I have to say is that when it comes to that first pick, we saw the Jinx and we saw the Tristana. Both of them have been the carry and they have been that priority. So are SRC going to take that first pick and go for something along those lines?
Bot lane really has felt like the focus of these games. That's where the leads have come from. That's where the wins have come from. So I would expect draft to kind of focus towards there as well. I mean, there are some other champions that I feel like are very high priority, like first picks, like the Lilia. But that's been consistently banned by our red side teams. I'd expect that trend to keep up, but if it does manage to make its way through draft, I would be interested to see it because that's just a very strong pick right now.
Yes, so it was SRC that previously banned Jinx on red side, so will we see Doge now take that one up and say, look, you cannot have that Jinx on blue side ever again. It will just be that red side pick. Like at Worlds, it was previously Yone that was red side banned, but it will be Jinx red side banned for the remainder of the series, more than likely. But the Tristana change-up has been interesting. Jarvan was also taken away as well, but that was also a blue side ban on the last one, so it is changing up every single time now. So the drafts are starting to mesh together into both teams don't want to give over certain picks, but that does leave open the Ashe in the bot side, so it is something that I would look forward to maybe seeing someone take up that utility role and stop all the madness in that bot side. But they are just going to go back towards that Viego.
Viego, I mean, it can pop off in these games if he's able to get resets, kind of in the same way that Jinx is, but I don't think we saw it being super effective in the previous game, so I'm surprised that they first picked it. I mean, I do think this is kind of a signature pick for Mist, it feels like. Definitely a go-to option, but without a team comp that's built around it, if Viego's not able to get that first kill, I do feel like the champion is a little weak in terms of the base kit, what it has to offer. This is the first time we've actually seen the Syndicate pick this series, which I think is really good into these two picks that Syndicate has grabbed. If you're able to, hold on to that E and peel for yourself with it, you can get both of those champions off of you with one press of a button. So I like the Syndra here, and it's going to be Jacob this time playing the Victor.
Yeah, going to take that one away from Kehel here, and she is going to be forced onto something else. Yeah, I like it. The Syndra is fine. It's going to take the Victor into it, maybe a bit of a BM there. It's I could do this too. Well, we'll see how they go for it. But the Vi going to be matched into the Viego. That's Zac going to be heading towards the top side, which means we're going to see a lot of ADC bans. And out of all the roles in all of League of Legends, ADC is the shallowest pool. You don't have that many ADCs that you can play. So we should be seeing possibly... I'm going to say Jhin. I'm going to say Jhin should be one of the ones taken away here, or taken. But we still have Kai'Sa Rakan, or Xayah Rakan. We still have Nautilus is available, which you saw in game 1, I believe. Yeah, with those bans, yeah, it has to be Zyra Khan and Kai'Sa Nautilus are the last two best options, unless Nami is selected.
So yeah, I'd expect to see one of those bot lanes. So there's the Kai'Sa pick. That does kind of open the door for Syndicate to maybe go for something that has a little bit of a range advantage in the early game to try to bully the short range pick. I mean, last time around that didn't quite work the way they wanted it to, but it is going to be Xayah, and I'm going to assume that Rakan will probably be the last pick for them there. I do like the Rakan pick a lot with this team comp they've got. They've got Zac and Viego that can kind of go in first for Rakan to follow up, or Rakan can be the primary engage, and there it is. Those splash arts linked up perfectly between the two picks there, and now we will see what Dorado answers with.
It has to be Nautilus. It has to be Nautilus. Don't
yep,
be teasing us. I know what it is. It has to be Nautilus. Like, if you went anything else there, I would have been angry with you.
I agree. But sometimes the teams surprise us. So, I mean, both teams have a lot of engaged tools this game. We've got the Zac and the Rakan on the side of Syndicate. We've got Nautilus and Vi over on Dorado's side. You know, just initial thoughts here. I kind of like Dorado's draft. I think Syndra gets a lot of value this game in terms of sort of stuffing the engage that Syndicate has, but also has really good follow-up on Dorado's side. And I think also in the isolated 1v1, I really prefer the Syndra in the Victor matchup. I think it's a lot harder for Victor to do the bullying because Syndra can kind of play at max range. But yeah, what do you think about these drafts overall?
I absolutely adore Zyra Khan. I just think it is one of the most fun bot lanes you can ever play, because you just have so much you can do and those towers just melt. But this is not what we wanted to see. As it will be Angel walking into more than likely their demise, as they will manage to flash away and escape as Chili Crab now the target. The hook will come back through, and Angel, you will proc the aftershock, but will you die for it? It will be first blood over to Jacob. Think of all those free stacks.
Oh boy, an extra, I think it's 20 now stacks for the Victor. And I mean, that's a great start for Victor, who's really reliant on those stacks and gold to really get going, and will become an absolute menace later on. That is flash blown from 2 members of Dorado, only Xayah using it for the side of Syndicate. So they're going to be pretty happy with that early game. And I mean, Nautilus is really strong on the invade, of course, but Rakan has an AoE knockup, which in a situation like that where the entire team is clumped up, gets way more value at level 1. So, you know, well recognized by Syndicate to group, you know, guess what Dorado was going to try to do and counteract it perfectly.
Yeah, we'll have to see how Jacob can return the favor that Cahill so expertly put down at the beginning of this one, as we saw 2 Victor games and a lot of pressure come through, so a lot of eyes on Jacob now to return the favor. But with that extra kill, should be very comfortable doing so. But in that bot side, we're seeing how it should be going. Measurable has to show so much respect, knowing that Nautilus can just go for you, can try to blow you up. And Pola, with that extra passives, you get 1 from the hook and you get 1 from the auto attack coming from the Nautilus, which means you just need to get those 2 autos and then a W off, and you will half health an ADC thanks to that extra proc damage of that passive. And yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see how they do this lane, and it is just pure respect being shown.
They've got the big wave stacked up, but they have to be a little careful because Mist is in the area. Now they've got the ward down, so they'll see that and back off. But that could have been scary if they were pressed up on that tower without vision. And they're actually going to look to fight it, maybe just interrupting the back. So, you know, stalling that out. And they do have the opportunity to look for another invade. Angel is going for it again. I feel like that. Oh, okay. Doesn't stop the recall.
Doesn't stop the recall, but the little decent bit of damage coming through there onto the mid, as well as we did see that beginnings of a gank coming through from the Vi onto that Victor, as Espada is low, but thanks to the power of many years of game design, they'll be fine. They can just use abilities and then pick up blobs and they'll get their health back. It always made sense to me. But yeah, so this top lane is going to be an interesting one to watch over the course of the game and see how that one kind of fares out, as Chili Crab back on the Cassante, looking to get the better of the Zac, who has that unbelievable passive on the other side of things. But it is one that is probably one of the most difficult ones to hold down, as Zac is always going to be able to combo you like that and then go pick up all his health again.
And I mean, manaless champion, Zach's able to, despite being low, sustain back up on the health. While Cassante does actually run out of mana pretty quickly in the early game. That was a hook in the bot side.
Yeah, it's the target you don't want to hook, as Rakan does have that double dash, also with extra distance thanks to the Lovers bot lane. They do get a little bit of a buff while they are working together, and yeah, it's going to be a very difficult lane for them to gank through all courses of the game, even at level 6 with all those dredge lines and everything else coming through. It is still very easy for Xayah to ult away from those things, but Rehard is coming back for this. They have a feeling it's happening. Retail Row is standing in between the hook, but doesn't do it perfectly, as we do see a great gank coming through. There is no flash available for Measurable, but it will be Retail Row falling, and that exhaust should have been used.
Yeah, that needed to come through a little sooner. I guess they thought that, between all the dashes and having the flash up, they'd be okay, but it's the Ignite that finishes the job there with, no tools left to keep the Rakan alive. So 1-1, the kill score now, and that's going to be very nice for the bot lane for Dorado. Kill does go onto Nautilus, but wow, Spot is also getting pretty low on the top side. That Zach is
getting chunked.
That Zach is very deceptive, though. Can get a lot of health very quickly if there's multiple of those blobs on the ground, and has the Doran's Shield plus that refillable potion. And, of course, the Cell Division passive. If he does go down, in turret range, he'll be okay. But we get to see the bot gank happen again here.
Yeah, so this is where you should have just immediately dropped that exhaust, make sure none of that damage comes through. As you see, that passive proc just finishes off Retail Row's health bar, and regardless of that Prey Seeker flying by, it's just... use the exhaust. It's a very low cooldown. You're fine to do it, as the rest of them, they will step up, they will clear out. Some of this vision around the Drake is missed, is opting to try and go for this one, but Angel feeling confident. But we do have to also highlight that there was a gank in the mid lane during that top fight between Espada and Chili Crab, where Jacob did lose their flash, as we will see. A little bit of trading. Espada will do the stretching strikes and pull them back in, and more strikes, more abilities with strikes in the name.
Yep, it's a lot of those abilities, and bot lane is still scrapping. It's a bit of a lead for Dorado's bot lane, but Syndicate is trying to fight back, I like that Dorado pivoted towards this kind of more aggressive style instead of the draft that they had in game number 1. I felt like, back when they were rocking the Jhin Renata, I didn't feel like that had as clear of an identity. Now they've got, cookie cutter, easy to execute bot lane, and it's working out well for them so far.
Yeah, working out really well for them, as we do see that Measurable is starting to get down towards half health, which is usually the danger zone for most Xayahs. But they're feeling comfortable enough at the moment, as we do see those grubs did go over to the side of SRC. We shouldn't see any contest coming through for this Drake, but currently doing it unassisted, doing it on a solo leash, as Angel thinking about going over, will just step up and give a little bit of health over to Retail Row. But here we go, Jacob and Kehl are starting to walk over for this one, and the contest just isn't there.
Maybe if Mist had gone straight there instead of going for the Wolves, there could have been a chance, but I think it's a very risky contest if you choose to go for that. It's probably, at best, you steal and trade your own life away. So, here's a gank in the mid lane from Angel.
Yeah, great little roam coming in from Angel, knowing that there's no flash available for Jacob, but the stun does come through onto Kehl, and they might fall to minions.
Ooh, Kehl just gets caught on the very edge of that gravity field, and that buys enough time for Jacob to walk away. Does make it out alive too, so that's going to be a second kill onto the Victor, who's going to become a problem here. I still think Syndra can, has a lot of room to play in this matchup. There's a lot of gank setup. I think if a few things went just a little different there, that probably is a 1-for-0 in the other direction. But yeah, I mean, more acceleration onto the Victor. I think right now that's probably the biggest win condition that Syndicate Reboot card has, and so that's exactly how they want things to go.
Yeah, those lasers are designed to kill and not stun, and they will set up a Viego very, very nicely come to that late game. And I don't think there's anything scarier than a Nautilus in those later stages, but when they transform into the Nautilus and have an execute off the back of them going all in, things will get very messy. So Nautilus will have to be very careful in this game not to give their life over to that Viego. But at the moment, back towards this top side, there is a sizable lead now building for Espada in that CS department as Measurable getting a little bit of poke down onto Angel. We are seeing that lethal tempo build come through. No summon Ares for the poke, something I do like to do sometimes myself into Kai'Sa lanes, as you don't really want to interact with a Kai'Sa. Kai'Sa will nearly always win those.
Espada looking for a gank mid, but I think Cahill sees it and is going to back up. So nicely done to stay alive there. And now going to roam back over top. But yeah, Espada, I think, feeling very comfortable on these tank picks. Maybe not quite as much on the Jackson game too, but got a nice lead for themselves on the Zac. And I mean, Retail Road just gets chunked out there.
Yeah, Chili Crab now just getting more and more like magic resist is always great, but if Mist comes top, you're not going to have too much available to you to stop that Viego damage from coming through, so it could get messy if Mist does want to visit towards that top side. But for the moment, Mist just power farming and really pulling ahead of Rehart here in the terms of those clear times, as they are just clearing very, very well, as the spot side nearly always shoved in. Doge always have good control down here in terms of where the lane is and their vision, and mid lane seems to be the target for Rehart, as they do get a decent hook now onto Retail Row. That's that passive damage coming through. Nice easy setup for the Kai'Sa, as Espada is going to go all in, will use Let's Bounce. Decent damage, but you're still just a... Oh, that's a lovely little setup from Retail Row to get straight onto Pola. They use the ult to escape for the moment as we go back towards that mid lane. Jacob is dead to a lovely gank coming through, but on the other side, Mist gets the feat of war completed, picks up that Kai'Sa, will transform, and yeah, Measurable will pick up another Espada, now getting on the worst end of a trade against Cassante. The knockup does miss though, which usually means that Cassante won't be able to stick to that target as much as they want. As Espada gonna just throw out one stretching strike, one limb connects, and they've survived. But fights all over the map, and it's in favor of SRC.
SRC, yeah, about 1,000 gold ahead now. And, you know, Doge was close to taking down the Rakan there, but they get baited in a little bit by that low health bar. And Retail Roman makes a really nice engage using the full power of that Rakan's kit with the Flash ultimate. And, yeah, the Pola ends up going down there. And now Mist is getting very strong on this Viego. So they're going to grab these grubs.
Oh, decent knockup coming through there, as Angel is going to try and escape from this one, but no, this is what I was talking about. You can't die. Don't let Mist take you, as Mist will love to take a Nautilus, as everyone loves to throw hooks, as they will just use that ult to actually get back over the wall, and that's a good expenditure, I suppose. They do get that 5th grub, which will set themselves up for some nice handy little grublings when they're trying to take those towers, but they don't get to complete that mark on the feat of objectives. They will have to get that Drake to get their 2nd one, and that will give them a decent lead. But look, Freedom Play-Dohs, it's horrible watching top lanes like this, isn't it?
I mean, they are just going back and forth for so long and never really able to kill each other. I mean, neither one of them has died yet. It always looks like Espada might be done for, but that Zac can just heal up so much or just jump away like we see there. But Cahill is in danger in the bot side now.
No flash used so far, and there's the charm. Will they have the root off the back of that one? No, they won't. Zaya won't be able to pull those feathers back through for the 3rd stun that would have connected, but flash has been burned. Jacob now in a little bit of trouble. Rehart will use everything to close that gap, and the flash will just make the difference as Mist is here. Whoa. Here comes Pola. There's the damage, but will there be a reset available for the Viego off the back of it, as Pola using everything they can? But there it is, 1 reset, looking for 2. Angel now in a world of hurt. No flash, no escape, no hooks, as they are trying to finish off the Vi on the other side of this. Rehart versus the Zaya, the Sheriff and Piltover's finest, but no, Measurable will take that one. Kettle is now here. The ult is available for Zaya. They can get away from that. That is everything they need to set up more and more, and it's now 8-3. Another reset, and yeah, Mist, let's see how your ball throwing goes. They don't finish the kill. We have to talk about this one. Stay in the jungle. No mid lane for you.
When you're on Viego, you kind of have to have the deepest champion pool of all, because you know, there's the little combos that on some champions that you've got to know how to pull off, and it's a little whiff there that misses out on a kill. But Syndicate Reboot card is still firmly in the lead now, getting a whole bunch of kills. It felt like Dorado, I think, overcommitted a little bit to that play in mid. It never feels good when you have to blow the Nautilus ult and the Violet just for the other guy to flash over the wall and get away. So, I mean, yeah, the mid jungle for Syndicate is absolutely huge right now. 4-0-3 on this Viego, and here comes Espada into the mid lane trying to get another kill onto the Victor.
Yeah, they know that nothing is available for Apola, so Espada will be there to assist and take the kill. No more kills for you, Jacob. You've had enough, as that will be Espada's one to take, as Angel now in a tough position, as they can't really stop this from being taken without assistance, which means free plates will go over to Jacob with the assistance from Rakan on retail row, but also the Drake being taken, as there's too much pressure in that mid lane for Rehurt not to help, as Measurable will get half healthed by what is the correct combo from the Syndra. So Mist, you should have been watching that too.
It's a good combo from Syndra, but yeah, I mean, you have to be careful. We saw earlier the Xayah ultimate is just a get out of jail free button. When Syndra throws the unleashed power at you, you can dodge all of that damage. So it's a really hard target to assassinate. I mean, I think, you know, ideally Cahill is going to be using that on the Victor, or maybe on the Viego if Viego gets a little too aggressive on the engage.
Yeah, so for the moment, everything's kind of calmed down. Tempo has been slowed on both sides here, as no one really wants to be making any plays with no objectives on the map. So we get to have a quick little look at how it's going, and it's coming up to a 3k goal lead. We do have SRC with a decent opportunity now to open up the map, start taking these towers, complete some more. As they are in the lead, we see the gold now popping up on screen as well. So 600 in top, just 1,000 now in the jungle. It's not as much in the mid lane as you would think, as there has been some very, very good work from the Syndra in terms of picking up plates. But in that bot side, it's 200-300 in favor of Xayah. And Kai'Sa, you want to be hyper accelerated. You want to be ahead. You're also down a level, and those feathers will be pulled back. We will see it end up being an ult for ult situation, and it is going to be a minion diff again.
That's the second minion kill we've seen this game, and Pola goes down with flash and barrier up. I mean, I love seeing the ADCs scrap in a 1v1 like that. I mean, the Kai'Sa Xayah matchup is a lot of fun, precisely because they can both, you know, they have a lot of tools to show their mechanics, but unfortunately it's just the summoner spells not used there that make the difference, and Pola goes down, and now the lead bot is going to be a little bit bigger for Measurable.
Yeah, it will be that Essence Reaver and Zeal now completed, while it will be Pola coming back with just that dagger. And I don't know about you, but I think I'd rather the Zeal, that extra little bit of movement speed off the top of that. Just every little bit of Zeal is just absolutely wonderful. It's one of my favorite components in the entire game. And I know it's a weird one to say, but when you play as much League as I do, it's the little things that matter. And as we do see Mist now setting up Angel, no flash available, knock up, stun, root, everything, and it will be a nice free reset. And it's looking like another one of those dominant games.
It is.
As we talk about that, Jacob, a lot of trouble here. Does manage to drop the Chaos Storm. It's no longer called Chaos Storm. I gotta remember it's called the Arcane one, but no, it will be a kill going over to the other Arcane character, but the mid tower has been taken in response. They're also taking Rift Herald in the top side, looking to crack more. Top tower is gone. Return TP from Espada to cover off that bot side. So they've gotten the kill. They've lost so much, and they're just going to keep losing more.
Oh, it gets Pola does get the rose, but Espada should have that elastic slingshot in the next few seconds. Does go for the tower dive now. There's the let's bounce too. But I mean, wait, does the Sunfire work on those blobs? Is he going to be able to get a kill off of those? The
TP doesn't work like that anymore, but he still manages to escape, as Jacob does manage to get down there. Chili Crab trying their very best to catch on to Espada. There was no words for what I just saw down there.
I mean,
everything about that was terrible.
Well done by Pola to live, I guess, but I think those blobs should have been able to be finished off. Maybe a little hesitation because there was a TP coming in. It doesn't save the blobs like it used to. It can't keep those invulnerable to guarantee that Zach comes back to life, but now Angel is getting caught out again. Might be death number 6 here. They're deep in the jungle, though.
back to bullying supports, but a great ult there for Measurable will finish off the Nautilus, but they are getting stunned and tapped by Pola as it will be the return. The lasers have finally hit. The ult onto the wrong target there is Kehl attempting to finish off the Xayah, but no, it hits the other bird-based character. And yeah, it's all falling apart now as though they look out of sorts. They don't look prepped. They look out of their depth here in this game.
It's looking a lot like that first game, you know, a little bit different. It's not as much just the single fed ADC, but that Xayah has crept up to a 4-0-4 scoreline now. I do think it's kind of still the mid jungle show for Syndicate so far, and kind of a, I mean, quietly, I think Espada has also been having a really great game. The KDA doesn't show it, but has been influencing the map all over with, you know, teleports to cover the tower, and roaming mid to get a gank off onto the Syndra, or I think it was actually the Kai'Sa that died to that gank, but and you know, exerting a lot of pressure in the 1v1 top as well. So yeah, Syndicate playing to their win conditions, and Angel has to flash out again.
Has to flash out and will escape, will get away from it, but damage has been done in terms of setup for the next big fight. And yeah, it's very back and forth, these series games, and it just feels like it all comes down to how comfortable people are in the draft. And once they feel comfortable, they play with confidence, and that confidence is showing in very, very beautiful ways as they just immediately like, oh yeah, we've played this before, we know what we're doing, send it, and they did.
And that's going to be the second Dragon now claimed for Syndicate Reboot card. Chili Crab and Espada sparring a little bit on the bot side, but Mist is there to cover if anything does happen. I don't think this Cassandra is going to be killing Zac anytime soon, but, you know, if he tries, the Viego is there. And it's really tough for Dorado at this point because they have the tools to get picks onto certain characters, but you know, the Viego and the Xayah both have tools to get away from any sort of engage that comes down onto them. Xayah obviously has that ultimate to dodge things, and Viego can also go over walls with his. So Victor's the only easy shutdown target here. I guess maybe the Rakan could drop as well, but it's got the Battle Dance to get out. And yeah, they've got a pick comp on the side of Dorado, but Syndicate's champions are, for the most part, pretty hard to pick off. So those shutdowns, you know, there's a lot of gold that they could pick up if they do manage to get one of these Fed members on the side of Syndicate. But so far, hasn't been able to happen.
Hasn't been able to happen as Espada and Chili Grab going back to the classic wet noodle fight that is in the top side where no one can really hurt each other and they both just get everything they need in those situations. But there is a slight invade coming through from a Zac. You're not a jungler. You're not meant to be doing that. Just leaping around the enemy jungle. It's something. It's not really what we want to be seeing, but yeah, let's break this one down. Like, so, never mind, they're starting Akaton. There's no breaking down to be done.
I don't think Dorado has any way of contesting this. They don't have vision. They're just playing around the top side, trying to find something back. Maybe they can get a turret. Maybe they're just going to steal away some of the enemy jungle camps as revenge for what just happened. But, I mean, if they go for a dive on this Zac, that is going to be a very difficult champion to pick off. He's got 2 tank items, going to be healing a lot. Has the ult up, almost has the flashback up, so I don't know if that's going to be possible. I think it is just going to be the camps taken away for now. And the Rift Herald is also summoned up in base. You know, they're a little too busy killing the enemies and doing Otacon and all that to summon it up, but it's going to be marching down mid lane, and I think that turret's low enough that it might be able to break it. Actually, they won't even need to, as Xayah's just free hitting the turret in the mid lane. Up pretty far, but feels confident enough to do it, and it'll go down.
Yeah, confidence is hell of a thing in these games, as it seems to work in their favor nearly every time that they can play with this level of confidence, and it is great to see it. But we still want to see you clean this game. Like there's no like mistakes to be made or 25-minute comebacks. We want to see you take a game where you're 13-4 with a 5k goal lead, more than 5k goal lead, and just methodically break them down like we saw in game 1, where I went from tower to inhib tower to soul onwards, just kept moving around the map and keeping everything perfect. But for now, back to the macro, back to take a mid tower, everyone resets. Where are we going to next? Setting each other up, but no, they're going to go for a fight instead, as Rehart will have to flash away from that one, as the Spada is just going to continue jumping around and being a menace in the enemy jungle as Chili Crab. Now, getting poked out by Jacob, but everything slows down once again as they go towards mid.
Wow, Jacob's feeling confident in this 1v1 with Cassante, too.
Yeah, feeling very comfortable. As Mist is also now in the area. They're holding back for that unstoppable, but they do manage to skip out of that one. All eyes on Chili Crab getting back to this one, as there has to be a fight breakout soon. Doge has to pull the trigger or they will just bleed out.
Yeah, I mean, Syndicate, I think, earlier we said, like, they had, like, a 3,000 gold lead, and that didn't look like, a decisively game-winning amount, but it was enough that they were able to blow the map open. They've taken a whole lot of turrets across the map. They've gotten themselves a lead in the Dragon. They were able to get that Rift Herald, which ended up not doing too much, as it just had to march down mid lane to a sad demise, but they have very thoroughly seized control of this game, and it's feeling very tough for Dorado to get back into it, as, Espada is in a 1v2, but so tanky.
So tanky, so comfortable, but here comes the Shred, here comes the Black Cleaver. This should make a difference here as Mist opting whether or not to go in here. Jacob is here, they're setting up, they might be able to save Espada, just about the flash, the jump, the hop. Rakan trying their best to match that, but Jacob now trying to get that damage down. It will be that first reset coming through, and it is onto Pola, and that's not the target you want to give over, as that is the carry. We swap over, straight over to Vi. We see Cassante falling off the back. Viego going on a rampage here. 1, 2, 3, triple, as they are just unstoppable now.
Espada BMing a little, just tanking up in the turret. I mean, so tanky. Like you mentioned, the Cleaver does a lot of work helping Dorado to get through that first health bar, but they're not able to kill the blobs. That's the second time that Espada has lived on a sliver of HP with those blobs, and using all those cooldowns on the Zac means Viego just gets to go crazy in the fight. And I mean, yeah, Kehel trying to put up some resistance, but that is gonna be game number 3 going over to Syndicate Reboot card in 25 minutes this time around.
Slightly faster than what we saw before. It is getting faster every single time, but Syndicate Reboot card, yeah, they take that third game and set themselves up with a nice little buffer heading into game 4. So it's do or die now for DOG, as they have to figure out what went wrong that time around. And was it the bot lane again? Just a little bit of bot lane. There was a lot of mist coming through on that Viego and taking Syndra instead of the Victor there for Kehel. They seemed a little bit like it wasn't really clicking as much as what we saw previously.
Wasn't clicking quite as much, and I mean, I think a lot of that also comes down to just that botched level 1 invade. Victor getting that early kill meant that what should be a slightly favored lane for Syndra was a lot more neutralized, and that helped Jacob be very strong in this game. Only person on Syndicate to die multiple times, just because that's the only champion they could really consistently pick off. They had a pick comp, and they couldn't do it to anyone else. But still, despite that, Jacob dealing massive damage on this Victor. And as far as bot lane goes, I actually think the early game showing from Dorado's bot lane looked pretty good. But I mean, once the lead gets to a certain point, you just can't fight back. I did like seeing the Kaisa Zio 1v1. That was super close. Yeah. It could have gone either way easily. But that is what I like to see out of the ADCs, not being afraid to get up in each other's faces and flex those mechanics and really just show who thinks they're the best in that isolated 1v1.
Yeah, just squabble up. Just show us what you have. That's exactly what we want to see. But that will be all from us for the moment. We'll be back in just a couple of moments with our game 4, which could see SRC heading to our grand finals here in Conqueror. But we have to wait. We have to give the teams time to set up as well. They need to get through the draft. So we'll be back in just a few moments as soon as we have that draft ready for you. So please don't go anywhere. Game 4, ready to jump in here. SRC and DOG both in what would be a dominant series if it continues the way it's going. Both teams have been absolutely smashing their wins, and in their losses just falling apart. We have to talk about it. It's whoever starts winning ends the game.
And it seems like, some of that might be coming from Blue Side. I think Blue Side has won every game this series. Definitely seems like those teams are favoring that, really valuing the first pick. Counter pick not getting as much value as, maybe historically has in League. So, yeah, and I guess we'll see once we get into draft. But I'd have to imagine that Dorado is going to take that Blue Side, and maybe the pendulum will swing back in their favor this game. Also, I think Dorado has yet another support that I think that's their starting support, the kid. So they were playing with, I believe, substitute supports these first 2 games. So we'll see if that can give them an extra boost. That is the support they've primarily been playing with, I think, during these playoffs. These playoff series that they've been winning in pretty good fashion.
Yeah, it is that first pick that has been dominating so far. It is a weird one to say, but it's the Jinx in game 1. We cannot forget that. It just came in, dominated left, and then we didn't see Jinx again as it's now perma-banned. Then we saw the Tristana in game 2 come through, and it just kind of took over. It took a little bit slower than we saw with the Jinx, with the 6-0 under 10 minutes. It was a little bit crazy, but then we go into game 3, and the Xayah, alongside the help of Mist on the Viego, something that really was kind of everywhere it needed to be at the right time. But we did see a little bit of that Xayah just nullify the Syndra, set themselves up quite well, and was constantly doing damage. So yeah, I think that first pick is starting to really shine because it was Viego in that 3rd game. So let's see what they want to go for.
And here we are in a draft for game number 4. Dorado has taken the blue side. Again, looks like, that Varus has been banned away like every game. I think both ADCs actually do like playing this. Or no, Pola doesn't really play it. That's mostly a measurable pick. Tristana taken away as well. I think a lot of these games have kind of been the ADC showdown in the bot lane, so kind of makes sense that that's where a lot of those bans are being thrown at. And Dorado banning the Syndra this time as well. I mean, that's something that they were playing last game, and so it's interesting to see them ban that away.
Yeah, so we do see SRC now on the red side, so they are going to take the Jinx away again. They don't want to see that one come out as the premier pick. First I'm seeing it as Xin Zhao ban, which is my top jungler at the moment in the meta. I think it is just the strongest jungler you can have. I've been playing it for about 2 months now and just having the greatest time, just absolutely mollywopping people as I run around the jungle. But Lilia being that red side staple ban that we're seeing so often, I pray for the day we see an Ashe, but no, it will be the Viego taken away from Mist on a first side B1, so almost a repeat of what we might have saw earlier.
That's interesting because it is Rehurt, Dorado's jungler, who is going to be on the Viego this time around. I don't think I've seen Rehurt when I was looking through the match history pick this in comp before, but I mean, we saw it can easily dominate a game if it gets some of those early kills, if it has good champions to take the body of, and now we're seeing Jin picked and Espada on the Ornn, which got a ton of value for them in game number 1, despite being in a bit of a counter matchup. Espada piloted that champion very well. I think he does very well on primary engage tank champions, so that might be a little scary for Dorado. They're going to grab the Cassante once again, which had a bit of a tough time last game, but this time the Ornn isn't able to sustain quite as much as something like the Zac, so maybe that'll be a little better for Chili Crab this time again.
Yeah, it is coming down to the stage now where I'm starting to believe that Espada doesn't like playing League of Legends and just likes turning off lanes, as every single time they just don't want to engage in any sort of some tomfoolery in that top side, and they just go for these tanks and look comfortable on them. The Nico is a surprising one. I don't know where that's going because I have seen Nico creep into the mid lane, but the Kai'Sa Jhin matchup is something that's sticking in my brain, is something that I think Pola can take advantage of. Pola had looked really good on that Kai'Sa, so I think there's hope there.
Pola did look very good on the Kai'Sa. Even though the KD last game didn't reflect it, we saw him playing with a lot of confidence on that pick and being willing to get really aggressive with it and putting out a lot of damage, even though, in the end, it didn't totally work out. I think that Kai'Sa is a champion that can kind of counteract some of these carries that want to play at longer range. You know, if someone else lands a little CC on them, you can just dive the back line with that ultimate, with the killer instinct, and just blow them up. But it's going to be an Olaf picked by Syndicate Reboot card. That's interesting. Yeah, I mean, I guess that's going to be Olaf in the jungle since they've got the Ornn up there for Espada. So, yeah. I'm not sure what to make of it. I mean, I feel like Dorado has a lot of damage. It's not like they're a team that's super duper reliant on their CC to get a kill. They have picked a little bit more of that now with the Silas and the Swain, but they have, you know, champions that can kind of drain tank, have some DPS, might be able to go toe to toe with that Olaf, at least enough to make it not like a god tier pick here. And it's going to be the Rise finishing out the comp for Syndicate. So they got Nico down in the support role, tons of CC together with Jhin, a lot of burst. I do like that. Of course, on the other side, you know, the kid picking the Swain down in the support role. That's also pretty interesting. Has a little bit of CC set up for the Kai'Sa since that Nautilus was taken off the table. Gonna be eventually, at least, a little bit tankier. You know, not a ton of champions that are easy for Nico to blow up here. Probably mostly that Viego and the Kai'Sa. But what do you make of this draft?
I don't think SRC are clicking the right champions. I think they made a mistake somewhere and they just kept slamming more stuff on top of it. Something's wrong there. I don't know what it is, but it just feels so off. Like, it just doesn't feel like a draft I can see working. Like, Nico and Espada working together, yeah, we could see some decent trains into the Pop Blossoms. Jhin sitting back, Rise mid-range, and Olaf running at them, but you've given over some good ults as well to this. It just feels like a very strange draft from a team that I've kind of stood by their drafts and went, yeah, I know what they're trying to do with this. Something just feels off with it, but on the other side, Dog, I think they've focused too much on trying to take stuff away from SRC, and the Reboot card boys are going to have a good time, I think.
I think so. I mean, they've got a team comp that can skirmish very well with the Silas, the Kai'Sa, the Viego. You know, I think once they hit those level 6s, they're going to be looking to fight in the river, fight around those objectives. And, you know, if they're able to get out of lane, I think that'll favor them pretty nicely going into the mid game. Late game might be a bit of a different story once you have like the Ornn items coming online. But yeah, I mean, they've got a lot of champions that can kind of drain tank in these fights, offer a lot of damage and CC. So I think their identity is a little clearer for the side of Dorado, but it's always going to come down to gameplay. We'll see how they play these lanes out in the next bit. Actually, Pro Comps down there at the bottom, giving a pretty favorable score over to the side of SRC. It's almost 2-to-1 odds of winning just based on the draft alone, according to them. But, you know, numbers don't mean everything. It's going to be the hands here, I think.
Yeah, I think it's going to be the hands here, as all the vision already in that bot side. As it's that Swain that's standing out to me from Dog here that I think will be the difference maker. I would really like to see that really pop off and show that it is a good pick in that bot side. I think Swain is very undervalued as a support. I think it does a lot in terms of buying space for ADCs just through pressure alone, and I would like to see a little bit more of it in the future. But back to this top side that has been Chili Crab and Espada just hitting each other constantly and nothing really happening because of it, but it's just really enjoyable to watch them do it.
There's just such a nice, I don't know, flow to it, that just them going back and forth, hitting each other, getting those grass procs. It's slow work, but yeah, it could be a bit more exciting this time around. I think
it's honest work.
It ain't much, but it is honest work. Kettle's taking an early fight onto Jacob, but I mean, Rise can just proc that phase rush and get out.
Traded pretty well off the back of it as well. It's a nice little trade to come from that. As Rise is one of those champions that, like, every single time there's a new iteration of it, it becomes pro play, like, perfection for a while, and then slowly teeters off, and then slowly creeps back in out of nowhere. And I do really enjoy seeing it, but ooh, the flash burn. You know the kid, you know the flash.
Summoner Spell burnt early, gonna be nice for the balling there. As Kettle goes, oh no, it's in too deep. Going into tower range, and we're getting a side-by-side view of that dead mid laner. And
Yeah.
no,
I
some of the
saw that.
spells.
I saw, as soon as it connected, I was like, "That's a tower shot. That's cooked. That's absolutely cooked." And that's not what Doge needed. They needed to stay calm, stay collected, stay in the game for as long as possible, and that's just set them off on the wrong footing.
And Jacob was getting low on mana, so I think, without throwing the life away, I think Kehel's actually in a pretty happy position there to, maybe get a little more damage off before going for something that aggressive. And yeah, instead it just completely turns around. And, the kid down flash, a pretty big risk of dying if any of these skill shots land now.
Yeah, could be in trouble, but for the moment, everything is calm. Everyone is staying calm as they are going to two-man invade up into the topside river in an attempt to find Rehurt, but it will be taken easily. We'll get that vision, we'll get that proc. No recalls will be stopped. A lot of respect shown from the junglers. No, Rehurt is deciding to stop that recall coming from Mist. Mist might even want to take this fight, but misses the axe. Very important there that the Conqueror won't come through because of that, and they will have to flash away from that. And that is a big summoner blown just before that first objective spawns.
That's going to be a flash down on the jungler for the side of Syndicate and on the mid laner for the side of Dorado. So, I mean, Olaf not having as much target access does hurt the champion quite a bit. Sylas still has some mobility even without that flash. So I think it's an okay trade. If Olaf gets caught doing one of these objectives, it's going to be very hard for Mist to get out of there.
Yeah, it will be very difficult. Let's see what the plan is, though. Will they do for the classic like Drake Grubs trade-off? Will they go 1-for-1 each? Or with that flash advantage being known by Rehurt, will they be like, no, we need to get prio in these lanes. We need to set up for this because I want to contest these. I want to make sure we fight for everything. That's what we're going through my mind as a jungler right now. But Rehurt is walking towards that Drake for the moment. The vision is still on it from the Scuttle Crab, so they might need to get a little bit creative with the way in here. But for the moment, everything is calm, everything is easy, and I think this is where Doge wants to be for the moment, as Chili Crab getting the worst of that trade.
But Mist has gotten a back off now and has the Tiamat, while Rehurt is still sitting on just that jungle starting item. So if there's a fight down here in this bot side, I think Olaf is going to dominate that. But the kid down flash, and
down life as they do fall. Flash also burned and barrier from Pola as the gank will come through from Rehurt, but they should be more comfortable taking this one than you'd think, because once again you pointed out there's no items on that Viego. It is just an egg in his pocket, and that's not going to do damage.
And that's probably going to mean the dragon given over to Syndicate as well. We'll see if Rehurt tries to trade something by going for these grubs on the other side, or if he tries to just, get a little more farm and maybe stick around to ward off any dive that could come through on the bot side. Yeah,
everything's going to still be hanging around here, Rehurt, which is a little bit interesting, as they do have, the kid back now, but do you really want to try and fight something like this right now? No, you don't. As there is Rehurt in the area, there's the ignite down that, the fourth shot will finish them, as it is going to be another one onto Pola as well. Will they be able to finish off his Jhin? I hope they can. Rehurt will get these shots now, will get the ability to transform. Retail Row is going to escape from this one. Will they chase this down? Yes, they will, as it is looking a little bit too easy.
And the stealth is so big for Retail Row there, just able to break the auto Q combo that Rehurt was trying to go for with the stolen Jhin body there. And that's a level 5 Viego. There's no ult to get out of the Jhin, so you're stuck in this squishy ADC body with an Olaf running at you. Olaf did get off the dragon, so it's that hasn't been claimed yet. It's just the feats of warfare, but 5-1 is the kill score, and I can't tell if that's a 1,000 or like a almost 2,000 gold that Syndicate has. Okay, yeah, it's 1,500.
Nice.
It was a little blurry for me, but yeah, they are. I mean, that's a sizable lead. We've seen how Syndicate can take a lead and push the tempo of the game, and explode the map a few minutes later.
Yeah, they also have vision on those grubs, so it looks like with Prio mid right now and Kehel being forced back, there could be a very easy contest coming through from Mist and Jacob. As Rehurt is going to step away, they're not going to land a CC there, so they will step away. No more action in the bot side for a little while at least, but this game is opening up a lot faster than I think we kind of hope for. I think we waited for a slower game. We want to get to that silver scrapes. We want to see that game 5. We want to see these teams go all the way. But for right now, everything is heavily in favor of SRC. They're building up their goal leads. They're starting to win out on this top side, as well as Espada is just the assassin, mage, tank, ADC support, bruiser, top lane Ornn. Like it's a fun champion to play into.
He can do it all. He can farm at range, wave clear, has all the CC. It's a very versatile champion, and it makes sense, I think, why Espada likes to pull this out so much, because it's, I mean, if you're able to get through the early game with those laning mechanics, and guarantee those extra stats for your team, it's an incredibly powerful champion.
It is incredibly powerful, and I'm hoping to see more of it come true in the future. But for now, Espada is going to continue farming, continue just having fun is the best way to put it. Having fun, as a lot of these top laners do. But Rehurt is spotted, is stunned, is trapped, is set in return as Polo wants to go for this one, but the Pop Blossom will not proc. The shield is not enough. Polo now in trouble, but here comes the shots. 1, 2, flashes, 3, doesn't matter. Polo now stuck. Slowed, hit, 4, double kill. And we've seen it before with the snipes on the Jinx rockets. Measurable doesn't miss.
Measurable has been incredibly reliable at hitting those skill shots with those ultimates, and Cal might get a plating here. Looks like maybe not even that. So the roam down from Jacob, earning a lot for the side of Syndicate, as they're just continuing to build this lead up in the early game. They're gonna get that Drake onto them. It's I think that it actually is Cloud Drake this time, I guess. So not the most impactful early game necessarily, but still going to be nice to start stacking those up. And this Jhin is 4-1. The Rise is close to getting that Rod of Ages. They are hitting all the spikes that they need to in this early game.
Yeah, hitting all the spikes that they need to. It's once again looking like a very dominant game, and it just seems that down here is like the bigger a lead you can get, you don't let them slip. It's great to see, but there has to be a moment where Dog has to turn around and go, we got to pull something out here. We got to go for something. We got to pull the trigger on a play. We've got to make a decision. It just seems to always be a bleed out game.
Yeah, it seems like there's not really a decision made until you can really see the desperation in the play. At least in these games where they've been behind, when they've found themselves in the lead, they've looked pretty good, but now Rehurt has to ult away from the Olaf.
Has to ult away from the Olaf, but Espada is going to have a little bit of fun here. Here comes Mist. We'll see those axes start to land, the slow start to come through. Jacob is in the area. The Unstoppable into the Unstoppable as Rehurt now in trouble once again. Flash is available, so this should be just fine. And Espada will dash straight back out as, look, it is 3 grubs to a Cloud. SRC are 7-2 in kills. The first tower is yet to fall, but we're starting to see plates disappear, gold be picked up, and there's still that time creep, that money's still building. It's getting slightly over where they want. The one thing that's interesting me though is we do see the Roa coming through for Rise, which has been updated, upgraded, and boosted, but on the other side, Static Shiv on the Jhin at a 4-1 stage. Measurable, we've done this before, and you've sold the item to get the correct item. Please do not sell the Static Shiv to get a collector.
It's interesting because I feel like Static Shiv, with the wave clear seems to me, I mean, I don't play a lot of ADC, but it feels a little more like a neutralizing item. Like that lets you, play for wave clear, let your support roam around. You have all the wave clear to stop yourself from getting dove and just keep your farm up. But I'd imagine it makes it a little harder to press your lead. But what do you think about that? Am I way off base here, or?
No, I just like collector more. Like, you shouldn't be hitting the Cassante anyway, but Retail Row is going to be one shot by the combined efforts of the bot and jungle of Doge. So that's some good work coming through. It's something for them. They've pulled the trigger on a play. They've made a play, and that is wonderful to see. Do more of it. A couple more of those, and you'll have a game on your hands, and that's what we want from you. We want a game. We want you to do your very best here to make it to that grand finals, which is just around the corner now for SRC.
The gold lead is down to just 1k now, so Dorado has been, fighting their way back, not just rolling over and dying. They're still looking for opportunities, still keeping their heads in the game, which you like to see after some of these losses have been pretty brutal for them. But Retail Rose hanging around the mid, and
Yeah, hanging around mid, missed. This should be a nice, easy pickup, but Chili Grab will expend the flash, which will get away from that axe. You've always got to hold that axe if you know they have flash, but no, they do manage to lose that one in the end. Chili Crab now flashless in the top side. Mist is in the area and will be sitting around, but that top side is still no assists, no kills, no deaths. Tower still standing. Farm as close as it can be. There's always going to be small leads up there, but it is just a nullified lane.
Yeah, that's kind of been the story of these past 2 games. I mean, last time around, Espada was really out there on the map making plays during that downtime. But wait, you know the kid. How did you get there?
That's not a position you should be in. The ult has been used. Swain trying to just survive this, but doesn't miss. Doesn't miss.
Measurable doesn't miss, and that's gonna be kill number 5 on the Jhin. Chili Crab has no flash.
Yeah, they have no. They will be able to do the all out to get some space, but that is a CC immune Olaf that will just run you down. It is just going to kill you, and that's just how that one goes. And Mist right now in a little bit of trouble as Rehard is trying to get onto them. Kehel is now in the area as well. Will steal away the Oran Horn, but is rooted up, is stuck in position. Will get the knock up as the flash was in from Mist. Mist will go down. That is a Viego transform. Jacob now looking to flash over that wall and escape themselves. Rehard wants to chase this one down. No one in the area to help Jacob as they will also fall. They will be able to run for the time being, but once that Q goes over, we will see, yeah, a shutdown on the other end. Pop Blossom also used in that bot side. There's fighting everywhere on this map, and no one wants to stop it.
These teams do not want to stop fighting. They are looking to push every little lead, every opportunity they think they have at least. And yeah, it ends up going at least a little in favor of Dorado up there in the top side. So the Grubs are back up. The Dragon's about to spawn as well. And this Viego is starting to get fed, which is, I think, a big win condition for Dorado if they're able to get those opening kills onto the members of Syndicate.
If there's always that if they can do this, if they can do that, if they can do the impossible, which has not been seen in the series before, and is come back from a deficit and win a game. Now that's crazy to think about, that it's always been just all out win early win game.
Pretty much. I mean, it's, you know, in some ways expected, but here we get to see this replay where Chili Crab almost found the angle to use the Ornn as an escape, which, you know, probably would have allowed the Cassante to live, but then Mist without the ultimate isn't quite so scary. And even though it's a 2v3, the stolen Ornn ultimate gets so much value for Rehurt to take the re-engage.
Yeah, Mist flashing into it as well is just a little bit unfortunate. Just a little bit of patience there and not thinking you could just burst it out and return it might have been in their favor, but instead we will just see the end of this run down here as Jacob gets cleaned up on the back side of things. And yeah, the game is just it's bloody, it's messy, but that Drake now completed on the side of SRC. So 6 grubs to Dog. On the other side, SRC will get their 2 Drakes, setting themselves up. That Rift Herald is just waiting, but with a tower already gone, boots have been completed. They've got the upgrade. They could probably give over this Rift Herald and do what we saw them do previously, where they just start rushing down towers.
They could look to rush the towers, but and because Dorado has a lot of people up here in the top side. Jacob's got the first move from bot, so if a fight does happen, that'll be a 5v4 in the favor of Syndicate Reboot card. Rehurt's gonna notice this and chooses to back away, which I think might just give the feats over to Oh wait, they already have the feats. Never mind, I forgot they got the first 3 kills already. That's a long past.
It happens. It's been a long series. You're allowed to make mistakes. Don't worry about it.
So
I was also forgetting Measurable's name at one stage.
But that will be the Herald picked up, which, yeah, not gonna, be as impactful because that first turret has been taken already by the side of Syndicate. But they might be able to use that to set up another big play, or just knock down a tower if they get a little bit of alone time with one of those. They are looking towards the mid lane right now, but I think this will be defendable for the side of Dorado.
Yeah, it should be defendable. They should also be using that to crack open the mid lane. Once they crack that mid lane, they get to control more of the map, all those little things that us casters like to talk about a lot that sometimes just doesn't really matter too much. But it is important to crack that mid tower because you can get deeper vision into the jungle. You get to see more, and that could be very, very good here as we see Retail Roll getting a decent amount of poke on it. You know the kid. That's the Ignite being popped as well, and here comes the shots. The setup, Pola. You cannot let any of these skip through, and you're going down to no health yourself. Measurable thinking about going for the snipe here. You still have that W available. If you just send it straight now, if you went for the straight shot, sometimes they're just right beside that tower, but they will get mid. They're going for a second crash here, and with the minion wave coming too and no one to protect it, they're going to get 2 towers for the price of 1.
Looks like they will get that second tower. Rear is here, but oh, they're actually going to back off, leaving that tower at a sliver of health, and Kehel's here too with the stolen Nico ult.
Yes, those Nico ult, but they're all by themselves for the moment. They still have a little bit of space to break through. We do see a turret has been destroyed as well, as they do finish that one off, but they do get the transform, they do get the Nico, they do get something as a Spada. That is not a position you want to be in. That is 4 people surrounding you. That's a Spada down. It's another transform available. Viego resetting off the back of this one. Pola will take out Jacob as well, and for all of the comebacks we said that weren't possible, they're starting one.
They're starting one. It's the gold lead's back down to 1,000. Still not in the lead, but pretty decisively winning fight. Spada maybe taking the assassin Ornn meme a little bit too literally, looking for a flank angle and just getting collapsed on. A very disjointed fight from the side of Syndicate, and Silas getting a ton of value out of that Nico ult, landing it onto 2, and yeah, it's Retail Row goes down before even getting off the true original Nico ultimate.
Yeah, we have to see what the idea is here behind this one now for Dog, because they have still a mountain to climb in terms of trying to get these Drakes back in and unlock that win condition. That's still a worry probably sitting in the back of their mind, that if there is an Infernal Soul taken, it's just going to make Jhin even harder to deal with. That IE is now completed as well, so they're going to continue on that climb of trying to get that damage into the Jhin. I think Rapid Fire next, more than likely, or an LDR, and then Chili Crab will start to fall a lot quicker in these fights. I do love how the top laners are matching scores nearly constantly throughout these games, because they just don't interact with the map that much. They're just chilling.
They're just interacting with each other, and even that is, yeah, just a wet noodle fight. But if it's going to be crucial for Dorado to get onto this Jhin, still only on 1 def, has that 200 gold shut down, and yeah, if they can get that kill, that's going to be probably going to turn the tide of any fight in their favor, because that Jhin is on 2 items. Ryze has also hit that second item as well, so Jacob going to be looking scary in these coming fights. Ryze is very effective at kiting away and just dumping tons of damage into those melees that are going to try to run at him. This Viego and the Silas. If Jacob can lock them down and set up the team for a kill, that'll be big.
Yeah, all eyes also on Mist as well, as Olaf. The longer this game goes, the more Olaf is just going to run at Pola, and with that mixed build, we'll still be able to do decent damage. But Olaf is terrifying as an ADC. It's just one of those champions that when you see, you're just like, I just don't want to be in this game anymore as a Spada. Now against the Tide there a little bit, but does set up nice for a Horn. Will get a 3-man knockup off the back of it, and this is a big fight. Can they burst out that Swain before the healing comes through? Yes, they can, as they have the Jhin. They have those shots. They will see the Ornn Horn come back, but it gets missed. The timing is off. Kehel misses it, and it's a beautiful flank. It's a 4-man knockup from Nico in the back, and it's 1, 2, 3, 4, and every shot lands, and that is a wipe for SRC.
It's a disaster for Dorado and a huge win for Syndicate. That whiff on the stolen Ornn ultimate is just brutal to watch, as I think that would have easily turned the fight in Dorado's favor. Super unfortunate there, but and also we have to talk about the 4-man Pop Blossom from Retail Row, rapidly turning the fight even further in Syndicate's favor. I mean, it still might have been a toss-up at that point, but when that comes through, the House of Cards just comes falling down, and yeah, that's a 5-for-1, I think, and Otacon secured, and Syndicate is fully back in the lead here.
Yeah, Swain sets up here, and the 4th shot comes through, bang, gone, and then we see Jhin start to backpedal a little bit here, starts to get a little bit worried, but once that miss comes through, Jacob starts pumping out damage, and Nico's just like, okay, well, everyone's here. It should be easy. Barrier popped by Pola, but there's nothing you can do past that. You try the ult, you try space, you try something, but everyone just onto the correct targets there, one by one, selection made, and that Ornn ult miss from Kehel is one of those ones where it keeps you up at night.
It is. I mean, not that specific interaction, but I have definitely been there where it's something that should be simple, and yet it just like in the moment there's a lot to think about. If your mental stack's overwhelmed, or just it can just be sweaty fingers, whatever it is. That kind of thing will you'll be thinking about that for a long time, especially if that is a game deciding play, which that very well could have been.
Yeah, that could be the difference between them not going to grand finals or going to grand finals. Is we do get a lovely highlight there from our observer to say that an Ornn item has been completed. I'm not sure if they actually meant to tell us about the Ornn items or that was just a misclick, but the kid, this is a bit of a dangerous position as there's no one near you, and that will be a quick death. But Ornn items are starting to be completed now. We see that Zenith Blade now completed over onto Jin, while we have the Dead Man's Plate upgrade. And I'm going to say this once, and so just as a reminder for everyone, if you have an Ornn on your team, put the item you want upgraded in your first slot. Please, God, do it. Because I've seen way too many ADCs get their rapid fire cannon upgraded, and it drives me crazy.
It's you really want, especially on Jin, you want those heavy hitting AD items like that Infinity Edge to be upgraded. So at least we got the right one there. Not sure if the Dead Man's is what Espada wanted the upgrade on, or I think either one gets value this game. So I mean, it does seem like the this Viego, it might be the primary threat, so I guess that'll get good value into him. But
side and top side both being ganked simultaneously, as Chili Crab doesn't know the danger is there. Same with Jacob, as the ult is used from Jacob, but on the other side, Chili Crab, in a world of hurt, is missed, looking to finish this one off. Unstoppable, no you are not, and Jacob uses the ult to escape on the other side.
Chili Crab also blowing the flash, despite the 1v3. I think that's a situation where you might have to say just give up, recognize the mistake, and go down. Kehel's trying to get aggressive in the enemy jungle. Steals the Rise ultimate, but that's not going to do much in the 1v1. Although
it will not, as Kehel and Jacob are going for this fight, but the mana differential from Kehel is going to stop that fight as Jacob trying to get back to that tower in time, as Rehart is now in the area. Ult used earlier, Heartbreaker, Heartstopper, as Rehart will take that one. Will get away with it for the moment, but they're losing so much more on the other side of the map because there's going to be another wave crashing in here. Espada is eventually going to get that damage onto the tower, and Baron is available, but no, they all decide to back off. Too much has been taken, and with the Rise down, they decide, no, we're not going to go for this.
But they have gotten a lot of gold up on the rest of those champions. They're going to reset, get to buy a little bit more items. Jin now has the rapid fire cannon, which is going to make that champion so much more threatening. Can just chunk out probably or close to half of the health on some of these champions with one auto from downtown. So that is a scary looking ADC that Measurable has turned into. He's got the fourth shot, thinking about walking up for Pola, but doesn't quite commit to it yet.
You don't want to commit to that. You don't want to use that fourth shot in a position like that because you're then out of bullets. And Kai'Sa never runs out of bullets. Kai'Sa will constantly run towards you and try to end your life. So good decision there not to expend that shot. Rehart now will spot out the clone. They will miss the pullback on Retail Row as they do proto belt their way out of danger. And the setup now begun for this Drake, which is up in 20 seconds, which will unlock the soul for SRC. This is a fight that Dog cannot ignore, and ignore it they will not, as they are getting caught in traps here.
And they're going to lose priority on the mid wave. They don't have access to a ton of wave clear, so Syndicate Reboot card is going to have the first move into the river. They have all of these Jin traps set up, making the approach even harder. They're going to try to kidnap Measurable, but it won't quite work.
Yeah, as the setup comes through now, and it's an unstoppable and all-out death, as that will be picked up by Jacob. Here comes the Horn, here comes the rest. A flash forward will catch onto the Swain. There's Jacob. Double kill now for the Rise. Shots, one, done, and just turn it off. You don't need to fire anymore. Don't worry about it. You landed the shot. You know what you're doing. You're going to grab it every single time, and that could be game right here, right now.
It looks like Syndicate might be able to end the game without even going for that Dragon Soul. 30 seconds on Pola, 20 seconds on Chili Crab, 15 now on the Kid. And they've got a big enough wave that I think they can do it. Dorado really has to commit to trying to clear this out. They have the stolen Nico. Well, that needs to come through. Oh, well.
Yeah, but no, it does not, as Retail Row is now on a rampage on that Nico, 5, 3, and 8, and look at the composure coming from SRC. They know they don't have to try and end this right now. They can get out of this. They can use that Rise Portal, head over, grab the Drake, calm, cool, collected, no worries, no force. They don't need to end it right now. They've got time.
They're going to grab this soul, and I mean, Silas's health bar evaporated so quickly there. I don't know if that was the 4th shot from Jin or what, but I mean, it's just going to be even more damage coming through now that this soul is secured. Measurable 8, 1, and 6, sitting on 3 items, and Dorado looking maybe a little desperate here. They've got the Death Bush set up, and Syndicate doesn't know about it, but it's going to be tough to pull this off.
Yeah, great roots coming through, and they have a good setup for a fight. They do manage to take out Retail Row just in time, but Jacob has gotten away from this one for a moment. Pola trying their very best to finish off Jacob. They do, as they do try and collapse now onto Measurable, but the flash away, the 4th shot, the kill. Here comes the Oranhorn, here comes the rest. Chili Crab, you cannot escape from the power that is Jin. Measurable holding that 4th shot, finally lets it off. Everything lands, and they do survive. Barrier procced after the fact. That's disgusting.
They get 2 kills, and they're so close to getting Measurable. I mean, they throw the kitchen sink at it, but it's not enough. They are aced, and now it looks like Syndicate Reboot card is going to close this one out in 3-1 fashion. Measurable throwing...
3-1 fashion. Stay in the ult, stay in the ult. It's always better seeing the Nexus explode when you're in ult and you get the zoomed out. No, Measurable. Not needed. Ooh. Not needed.
Well, almost takes it out with the 4th shot. That could have been some style points too, but that is it. That's the series.
Yeah, and that is our finalists. That is Syndicate Reboot card heading to finals with a lot of changes in the comps over the course of that series, but they always stay true to their style of, let's see what Measurable can do. And every time Measurable stepped up, it was fantastic. It was a show. It was terrifying in some cases, because that Jinx game was like 10-1 looks scary. Okay, I know everyone's watching going, but that Jin game was really good. If you had seen the Jinx game, that one was crazy. That was a quadra kill at one stage as well, and it was like a laser, I think is the way you put it, for those shots. It was beautiful.
So just a non-stop flow of rockets in that game number 1. But yeah, I mean, Measurable, super consistent performer in this series, outside of that game number 2, which didn't look quite as great. But I mean, yeah, consistent carry for the side of Syndicate Reboot card. I also want to shout out Espada. I think Espada performed really consistently, just kind of being a rock in the top lane, doing the job of that top lane tank really well, just getting through lane and then showing up in the team fights and exerting a good amount of pressure around the map as well.
Yeah, a lot of really, really good work there. It was done by Espada and Mist and Jacob and Retail Row and the entire side of SRC, and commiserations to the side of Dog as they do drop out in our semi-finals here. But our grand finalists, I didn't get to catch the information from the other game, but please do keep an eye on all of our socials. You will get updated there with all of our games and whenever we're going to go live next, which I believe there's going to be more games on tomorrow, which will be a grand final. So do tune in, give all of the Titan esports casters and crew and all the players all the support you can, because it does mean the world to us. But that is all from me and Freedom Potatoes and the cat in the background scratching itself, and we will be back very, very soon for more League of Legends. So please check us out. We'll see you later.